Hello, this is Lisa Lee and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a pick a card reading. We're going to be looking at the stories that you came into this life to transcend or overcome. And so they're going to be stories that you feel stuck with in one way or another, either patterns that are repeating or just a story of your life that you're in where you're like, I don't want to be in this story, I want to be in a different story, and yet this is what I have to deal with. And so how does that kind of relate to the past life and the current life and what it means to step out of those patterns, transcend those patterns? So that's what this reading is about today. So we've got three different piles. We've got pile number one, which is the honeybee. This is a piece of a beehive, so the honeybee pile. Pile number two is going to be the Little Mermaid, the mermaid pile. And pile number three is going to be the horse. And this is I think it's like a paper clip, but I think it's important to notice that it has two sides to it. So those are your piles. If all three piles do sort of like ring a bell, that's possible too. I mean, it's literally, it's technomancy, like wherever your intuition is kind of leading you. So yeah, let's leave it there. Take a moment and choose which pile is resonating for you, and I'll see you in 1 second. Okay, pile number one, let's go ahead and take a look and see what the situation, like what is the archetypal structure that you are kind of stuck in right now. Let's get some cards here. Some cards on the table. So with the one here, wow, and the destroyer. Okay, this is gonna be a story where I'll try to put it nicely. And by nicely, I just mean like you've lived through a really tough story. Like if you're sitting here, then your experience of life is going to be that something's been out to get you in one way or another. And so when we think about archetypal structures, we're going to be looking at this like very like, you guys are saying sober up. So almost like with a sober face a little bit, with kind of like a level of sobriety. Because when I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, it's simultaneously going to be validating and helpful, but also a little bit devastating. And so number one, if you were here for like a lighthearted romp of a reading, like this probably isn't it. And number two, there's a potential here for like a tremendous amount of catharsis, because this is going to be a story where every single time you authentically expressed yourself, something came at you to destroy you. And so this is going to be a pattern that you see over and over again, where you're like looking out and you get up and you go at it and something comes up, and it's insidious, right? So Spirit is showing me like the nature of like, why is it hard to hear this? Because it's true. It's true that when you're dealing with this story related to your own sovereignty, this one card is speaking to your sovereignty, your place of power, you being like in any way, like how would this in life kind of show up? So this is going to show up like with like growing up in a household with like either like a terminally jealous sibling that attacked you with every word you said too loud, or a parent who didn't allow you to express as yourself and only showed acceptance if you were somehow an extension of them. These things can go together too. Like this is what I'm trying to establish here, is that you have never been in a place, a situation, where like it didn't seem like your thriving and your success wasn't under some kind of attack, right? So never really being able to root properly. So maybe moving on around a lot, or if not, relationships like really sort of petering out after a certain point, and never really like allowing for intimacy, emotional intimacy, or others. So this is going to be a story about that. And so for like your guys are saying, like the first thing that we're going to say is like, yeah, absolutely. It's not like hyperbolic. It's not you're feeling sorry for yourself. It's not a pity party. You've noticed this pattern, and you've noticed that it's ubiquitous, and it's troubled you, and you've even maybe taken it personally. But this is definitely not personal, even though at the same time it does seem to be. There's an energy around you with this destroyer card on the bottom of the deck that is against your sovereignty. And so this can come in the form of ancestry that, like we have good ancestors. There's no two ways about it that like, are here to bring us through. They're ascended ancestors. But then we have the ancestors whose traits we came in with and whose stories are unfinished that we're meant to sort of like deal with in one way or another. And sometimes that can be an energy that is antagonistic, and sometimes that can be an energy that is, for one way or another, like trying to force old beliefs on you. And so you have a spirit or an energy that operates like this destroyer, and it's part of what you've inherited to like deal with. And now, if you're getting scared and you don't know what to do and you're going to freak out, don't do that, because you are empowered. Like, nothing's really changed. Like, just recognizing that the story seems true does not mean that the boogeyman that is represented by this destroyer is actually a boogeyman. It's something that we can overcome. That's why we're looking at it. So let's take some more cards. I just want to look a little bit at the like notion of alchemy. I want to see what the alchemy here that you're dealing with it, because this destroyer is interesting. I can't get away from those eyes. It's a stalking energy. One way that you might feel this is like you might never feel alone. You might have never felt alone. You might have always felt watched and criticized, just sitting by yourself, just doing nothing. You might have what seems like an internal voice that is always not just criticizing you, like trying to force a bitter narrative on you, which you overcome and shrug off, but sometimes you can fall into it a little bit, and that's this energy. It tries to force a bitter narrative, and when it can't force a bitter narrative, it tries to force like almost offering self-pity in the way of love. Like, it feels like love almost, and it's like, this is the only love you'll ever know. This is the only compassion you'll ever know. Like, I can feel this energy's influence. And this energy's influence, you can ignore it. You can sort of learn to recognize that it's not you. You can overcome this in huge ways. So I want to just alchemy and take that top one. I'm going to take these two. So Sun Splendor. Oh, the Drowned King, Conjunction, and Sublimation. There's a story coming through for me here with this Winter at the bottom of the deck. So I saw very clearly like the Dark Emperor's daughter. The Emperor's daughter. Wow. Huh. I'm getting such a story, and I'm trying to make sense of it. So if we're looking at the past life perspective, this was a cold and like very like calculating energy, and I keep on hearing the Emperor's daughter, the Emperor's daughter. There's something about like this emperor wanted to put you on an island. This emperor calls possession love, right? So it's a false love. It's like it's something that seeks to isolate you, and then once you're isolated, like evoke levels of like limerence or levels of obsession or levels of like, in lieu of love, this is the intimacy you get. It's self-generated, but it's almost like this energy has like an enchanting way. So it's not just that this energy has tried to attack you through every relationship or every person willing to hold it in one way or another, but this is a problem. Like for a general reading, like I almost don't want to post this because this is actually like a serious problem. But with the story, it's not a serious problem that we can't solve. We can solve it if we get the story. If we're able to get the story and we're able to like untangle the knot around it, we can solve this. And so the first thing that you need to know is it's a cold energy, it's a calculating energy, it's an energy that feels entitled to you, that wants to grow its roots in you in one way or another. So while you might be experiencing every single time you leave the house, every single time you try to engage with life itself, there's some kind of attack that comes along, and you get pretty good at rolling with the punches, but this has become a pattern that you can't like look away from, that you can't ignore. It's a constant. So the other side of that coin is once this energy gets you alone, it's always enticing you to be in fantasy spaces, to be in disassociated spaces. Now again, like disassociation can be a cool tool that you can use with magic, but that's important to know because it can also be elicited to be used against you by energies that know that you don't know how to use it. Know that you don't know how to sort of gain access to the divine genius with it, and they will try and sort of like manipulate escapism and have you using all kinds of magical energy, really just like bleeding into the atmosphere, all kinds of magical energy related to limerence, related to dreaming, related to like almost losing yourself into like story, like dynamics with energies. It's like entertaining. It's almost like TV. Very, very, very powerful. And again, it's because you're magical. So you have that disassociation like gift where you can really disassociate, not just a little bit. And you have also like, and again, like I have a different definition than most people do with some of these spiritual aspects that we have like downplayed. But disassociation can be used for you or against you in the same way that let me just look at this, because it's like all your magic is really, really powerful, and it gets subverted into these patterns on purpose, because this is the energy that wants to like root in you, and it's not effective. But you're the sun splendor. You're something that is alive right now, in this time, in this place, and you are brimming with life. This is an energy from the past. This is a drowned king. This is the long, like, gone essence or thing. And again, when I say the Emperor's daughter, like, I can't stop seeing this energy, like, hawking you. Building labyrinths around you to isolate you. And then eliciting, like, all kinds of, like, emotional highs and lows, like, in fantasy states. And just sort of feasting on that stuff to try and relate and be in relationship with you. And it's almost like you love this energy to an extent because it's in lieu of like all of the deprivation. But that's where we have this conjunction and this sublimation. Either this energy sublimates to your will or you sublimate to its will. But that's kind of the game that you're in right now in terms of like taking back your power and ridding yourself of this energy's influence and ridding yourself of this energy writ large. It feels like it has a right to claim you. There must have been some kind of a binding ceremony or some kind of a binding thing that happened here. And I want to look at it. Yeah, let me look at it using this deck right here. I didn't expect it to go into this territory, but we're here, we're looking at it. So the destroyer, you know, it's going to be a pattern that you can't deny, so it's not reaching for such a thing. It's being like, well, I don't see, it has been ubiquitous. You know, it has been like, that there is this presence. Like if this is firing for you, that's because it's something that you're contending with. So you're powerful. That's what the splendor and that's what that one means. Your level of power has this thing like absolutely crazed. It has been after you since the moment that it realized who you were. So it realized who you were. So there's a showdown in this life with this energy. Oh my. You guys are saying this energy came in. Yeah, it's all over your head. It's like right with you. This energy came in with your powerful trait. You have an incredibly powerful trait. You have an incredibly powerful magic, and you have an outstanding beauty. Attached to this trait, and I'm seeing eyeballs, your eyes. You probably have had people all of your life be like, you have the most mesmerizing, beautiful eyes. You do. So this trait is simultaneously in two places in the gene pool. It's in a place in the gene pool that is this beautiful daughter of the Emperor who has this powerful magic, who is beautiful, who is incredible. She has a constellation. I'm seeing Ariadne's crown, a constellation of stars. She's the Sophia energy, like in a really sort of like that. She really, really, really is imbued with this Sophia energy. And so she carries these eyes, and these eyes come with great wisdom. There was an ancestor who had these eyes, who stalks, predator, crazy. The entire family has been trying to keep this thing in a like box, right? And so I'm seeing the gene pool, and I'm seeing that like every so often this trait comes up for expansion in the whole family line. And every time this trait comes up for expansion in the whole family line, this came up in a reading recently that I just posted. Okay, yeah, it's like, I think it's the same story. Some of you are back here because you need more on that, and that's why we're back in this story. We're looking at this again. And from a closer place, we're looking at that past life. And so this, and I'll put down below what reading I'm talking about. This Let me find my place with this now. Let me get back in the channel. Yeah, so I'm seeing very specifically that your guys are showing me like this set of traits with these eyes. They come in with this like tyrannical, obsessive, like it's like your entire family has been like, we're not letting that trait, you know, out. It's been suppressed. And it's basically a showdown now in this life with this energy between you and this other, you know, you're finishing the story here, and where once upon a time, this is an energy that had forced you in submission. This is an energy that had been like obsessed with you in a way that was like sick, right? Really demented. Like tried to siphon your magic like in a very, very like real way, and wanted to create this bond. And so there's this bond here that is, I'm actually hearing stuff from your ancestors that what's really significant about this problem, it's a problem. It's a problem to be solved. You came in with a story, action, adventure. So you would have had relationships that got really extreme in terms of like this energy would have shown up in rage, right? So you may have had a series of relationships with different people where you get to a point of intimacy with them, and it's hard with you. Again, like this energy blocks all intimacy, all relationships, wants you to focus on it, wants you to pay attention to it, wants you to be in these like delusion, like it wants to bring you into delusion. You have not done that. You're magical enough, you're strong enough, you have a warrior's kind of that's part of this makeup too, is that you're coming up with some really big strengths from, I guess, another side of the family. But this energy and your ancestors are saying, you look like her. They're saying this to me. They're saying you look like that back in time place where this trait became so rancidly evil, where this obsession became so outsized. Basically, this is an emperor, and this is an emperor who could trust no one, and he had one beautiful, powerful daughter that was his favorite. And since he could trust no one and this was his favorite, he did not let her around any other people. She was trapped with like 3 or 4 rotating people, and her only relationship was him. And he forced her into a kind of like diseased love and dependence based on like, really, she lived in a beautiful, opulent place. She was able to hear parties, she could hear things, but she's locked away. And she's locked away for this energy's consumption. And this energy is actually like all of her wisdom. It's saying it's its own. All of its creativity, it's making its own. So it's extorting all of her power and all of her gifts and locking her away. And so this energy claims to be in love. Right? That's this energy's like, so when you're in that like locked in state, or you're in that like exhausted state, I'm hearing the word nakshatra. That's Vedic astrology. So it's kind of like, again, we're seeing like a structure. There's probably a parallel somewhere. I gotta look up that connection. It might be a nakshatra parallel, somebody who knows about that. I'm trying to learn about it, so I'm not surprised that it's coming to mind. But we are seeing here that this is a cold life. This is a life without true friends. This is a life with lovers, if they happen, that either disappear very quickly because there's a lot of interference, or become raging lunatics that like this energy is able to sort of like basically possess, right? So if you've had relationships with people that were like perfectly sweet, but then they tried to kill you out of nowhere, hair trigger temper, like there's something here about this energy acts on anger and amplifies it. So with the phenomenon, be still and listen to the spirits, and it's all over your head. You're a seer. You have the ability to kind of figure out that you have more allies than one, and that maybe this energy had a lot of control over you for a long time. But one of the major breakaways that you would have had would be like breaking away from the tribe, breaking away from religion. This is an energy that would have been trying to isolate you, but also control you at the same time. And you flip the script here because you're not controllable. So what does it mean for you to make this energy sublimate to you? Because it's like trying to force you into itself instead of allowing you to live. And so you're here to work out this story, but it's like, I'm just going to eat you and hold you like I once did. It's like really, it tries to punish you. Like there's this way in which every time you're having fun and you're like being bright and beautiful, like there's a punishment that comes in that's kind of regular whenever you're doing something. Like this is horrible. So I want you to know that we can get this thing and we can pull it off of you, because it's going to sublimate to you. You're not sublimating to it. Oh, hell no. Absolutely not. So this is more common than you think. It's a big collective. It's not a small one. This is an energy that, it's a story that has a lot of, yeah, we're back to this one. It's all over your head. Huh. Love the darkness. Love in the darkness. Crown. Okay. Right. Okay, let me just get this. So your guides are saying that, you know, there is an aspect of this where we got to get serious about some of the ways that this energy has crowned you its queen. So you're not wanting to be in this relationship. You know, you're not wanting to have this connection. And what's in that crown? It's going to be, again, when this energy tries to bring you into its orbit, it's saying something along the line of, you know, it's trying to weave you through vanity and then self-pity. Vanity and then self-pity. So a position of like really feeling like this queen, like, you know what I mean? Like, and having that quality, but then at the same time, also, you're not allowed to participate. You're not welcome in participation. It's all in your head. So you have the power over this in your head. That's another aspect of this. So like, this is an energy that doesn't feel like you. This energy wants you to think that it's you, but it doesn't feel like you. So it's vain. And so whenever you're having vain thoughts that aren't really like the way that you roll, that's it. The self-pity aspect is, it tries to get you into its position, into its perspective, so that it can move through the world as you. And that sounds really, really creepy, but if you do not participate and do not agree with its perspective, if you hear this energy saying, oh, you're so beautiful, you're the most beautiful that has ever been, oh, and you know what I mean? And it's just, you are beautiful, but that energy is like, intimacy is poison. So that's not beauty, you know what I mean? And when this energy sort of goes from like, so the most beautiful to like, and then the self-pity is around like all this like reasons why people would hurt you as a result, like really kind of this weird coin that flips. 10 of Cups, Ace of Wands, 4 of Swords, and the Empress. You are doing good with this. You are doing very good with this with the Page of Swords. So as you move away from this energy's messaging, it has the seductive power of like wanting to like elicit from you a sense of specialness. As soon as you feel comfortable, sweet, cuddly, and like limerently beautiful, it's going to throw some wrench in it to make you feel unfortunate. You stopped letting those tapes play. You stopped responding to those tapes. You stopped feeling judgmental in those ways. So you have not been picking up on any of this programming. And you're not going to. You're over it. So fantasies that played over and over again, you quit thinking about them. You've figured these things out. You've noticed these things. You've come to like a place where you kind of got it. You are in this Empress position of creativity. You are in this place of healing, and the inspiration that is coming towards you with this 10 of Cups is about the family that has galvanized to support you. So with this destroyer being out here on the loose for a really long time, any family members that had previously in previous incarnations unfinished business with this energy. And I'm seeing the eyes again. And it's going to be anyone who came up in the gene pool that this energy of the destroyer was able to overcome and make think it, like, so how, like your ancestors had this beautiful eyes, this horrible ancestor said you were mine, and began to try and condition it. And this other, you know, and tried to condition them and tried to like hollow them out of themselves and like move in as the primary voice in their head, as the primary driving forces. And there were ancestors that gave themselves over to that. And so there was almost like a troop, the way that I would kind of call it, and that kind of operated in like cahoots with this energy. Again, it seems like a concentrated effort. It seems pretty ubiquitous when it comes about, like when we really look at attacks against your life. Like a good example is this energy energy would have come against every single birthday to try and devalue you. So every time you had a birthday, like somebody didn't remember, something about your birthdays, and this energy attacking you as much as possible on those birthdays. Like, so that's true, right? And I'm only saying birthday and attacks because I think that whoever's listening to this, you're like, oh my God, like that's very specific. And it needs to be. Because what you have to turn and pivot your head towards is the number of family members with this 10 of Cups that are surrounding you, that are in opposition to these forces every minute of every day, that are working for your freedom every minute of every day, that are the parts of you that have called you out of these patterns of thinking that it tried to establish you with. Parts of you that like rose up and said, that is categorically not me. You have gone farther and done more and been more passionately successful at ridding the family of this germ, this disease, than anyone else has, because you didn't say, yes, I'm vain. You didn't say, that vanity makes me, you know, in a position where I can't properly, you know, like it's true that like the conditions are that you peep your head up and people attack you. That's not, but the stories that this energy gives you about why that happened is part of its spell. So, but you've broken through that. And what is meant for you is going to find you. And so you may have had a very long life of this notion of love in the darkness and listening for anything like reasonably good and feeling like the spirit world is just like not your friend and trying to negotiate all of that. But you have family, a lot of it with this 10 of Cups, and you are the splendor. I mean, they are like, you're the sun's splendor. You are the one, you are the champion, you are the curse breaker. And they have seen you like break curse after curse after curse, and you have freed the majority of this destroyer's minions. What is left is very small. And so that's kind of what we're looking at here, is that you are in the process of forcing this energy to sublimate to your power. You are more powerful than it. It, once upon a time, as the emperor, had a lot of power to wield a lot of like abuse and cruelty. But now it doesn't. And this is a lot to do with the way that you have been. Now, I want to kind of get some more cards on this. Every single time you try to rest, this energy comes at you for snuggles and kisses. I'm going to be so honest. And it feels like an altered state. But you hate it now, and you know that it can't be trusted, and you know that that's not the right thing. That said, let me get some cards on that, because that's this conjunction. There's definitely a bond. There's a bonding here, and like a deep bonding here. Let me look at that. This is going to be like the deep bond of like a really messed up relationship. Again, I keep on seeing this man, this emperor, like grooming you in that life, grooming you in this life too. And grooming you to a degree that like you can't put your head on the pillow without this. This energy is closer than close. And so that conjunction with the infinity there and the shadow and the light, you're so much the light and this is so much the shadow, and you share a trait. Which means that you are connected whether you like it or not. So what does it mean for you to manage this? You know, one of the ways that you're doing it is by monitoring your thoughts. But with the 5 of Pentacles here being about kind of like managing your thoughts with this King of Swords, despite the fact that you've been left out in the cold. So we have the reality that is, there's this pattern, there's this story, and you keep on getting beat up every single time you stand up. The only place where there is comfort is in this repose of healing. In that repose of healing, this energy comes in at you with all sorts of like eliciting, seductive, altered states related to fantasy that lead you nowhere. And even when it sort of leads you into a better state of feeling, this energy is quick to use that influence to then knock you down. So like with the lovely thoughts, there's dark fantasies that come later. And so, it has to do with your giftedness. Because if you see the one, and the destroyer and the self right underneath that, you know, this light and this light, and like, I don't know if you can see the eyeballs. I hope so. There's a wolf going at that light. There's that light. And this is the pearl, the self, the gift that you actually have within you. And so, you know, this is really about like you harvesting that pearl of self and removing this, like everything that is not you, that is attached to this energy's influence. And that's going to be hard, because where you are right now is you have freed yourself largely in one way or another, but you haven't had experiences outside of this isolation, outside of this dynamic. You haven't really had opportunities to grow socially. You haven't really had opportunities to grow in relationship. You haven't even really had opportunities to like use your muscles, like in career particularly. Again, this energy would have put you into a relationship or some kind of a situation that would have eaten your life like a tiger, like at least half of it. You know, it's very significant. Like it's not a small thing. And so where you are with this Five of Pentacles is you have to heal from this space. And so you're healing from this space of isolation in this repose, and this energy is still around. Page of Pentacles, Knight of Cups, and the Eight of Swords. Yeah. And the Hangman. Okay, let's work this out. This is kind of hard, I'll be honest with you. I feel your pain. I'm glad we're here. We can do it. Page of Pentacles is saying this is a slow process. You got to understand that this is going to be a slow process of untangling this. This is not a lifetime in the tangling. This is lifetimes in the tangling. And this destroyer had a like winning strategy, like with every single past life, every single life. When people were born with the trait related to these eyes and this energy came into the world with them, as this is what happens, you inherit these traits, the energies come in as spirit guides, some of them good, some of them having to work out their crap, but it's your perspective that either helps them through ascension or like they take you down and they sort of collect you into like that which needs to be worked out with these traits through the next life. Like this is kind of the pattern that it is. And so this destroyer had such a record, like an all-time high record, like 100%, like striking it out of the ballpark of doing the following things with people born with you, making them so that they were so intoxicated that they couldn't even see straight and they basically were puppets, or suicide is a lot of them had this. They're showing me like just that this energy also like really deranged marriages where one or the other person was held captive by the other, trying to sort of like reconfigure the original lifetime where this was the emperor and this was the daughter, and she literally lived her entire life from a locked room. That's why it's so important for you to, that's why you want to live so bad. That's why you have such a desire to live. That's why everything that you attend to, you do with the most gusto, with the most enthusiasm. In fact, what is so just absolutely devastating about this pattern is that your enthusiasm would have been 1,000% with every single thing that you like. You wanted life and life and life, and you have been fighting a energy of destroyer lifetime after lifetime that says, nope, your life belongs to me. It doesn't. And this is rooted in you. This roots you in the way of grounding, like with this winter, like it's rooted into your root ground. Like, how do I explain that? False intimacy. How much false intimacy is there in lieu of real intimacy? How much intimacy has to play itself out in the fantasy or the seventh chakra places? You need to be tapping into 8th chakra, and 8th chakra actually exists in the form of archetypal structures. You need divinity for this. You need the gods for this to a certain extent, because this has rooted in the God wound, which means you almost pray to it. And a lot of people do. Because this is such an old energy, and I mean old energy, that the ancestry on this is vast, which is why I'm saying I'm seeing this as being a hive like a beehive, right? This is the number one, this is the bee. This is a beehive because I'm seeing the yellow eyes, like the color of amber. And some of you just like fell off of the chair. But basically like what we're looking at here is that you come in with psychic gifts and psychic abilities that are from another time, that are very, very powerful. And this energy is obsessed, like psychosexually, like really, really bad. I lost the channel there. I gotta apologize. I just like fell out because it was just, I just saw all those honeybees. I saw all those eyes. It goes after people with like that color eye, like very specifically, also green. I'm seeing like that color, like that yellow, like green, yellow. Okay, so there's deep roots on this. So the deep roots on this can just like, yeah, I mean, I don't know how to, this is so weird because we're doing like a really not like light and fluffy reading. We're doing a really serious reading, and it's a collective reading, and I can see all the eyes. So I'm a little bit, I'm overwhelmed, but it's okay. So with this rooting, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of love in the darkness, false intimacy, a false sense of what love is, failure and success in relationships. Like this is going to be very deep held views about your own value in relationship to others. And this is like the manipulation field. I'm seeing like a stick shift, and this is how it gets you every single time. And so with this Page of Pentacles being about a slow process of uncoupling from the like powers that want to take dominion over you in like one way or another. With the Four of Swords and the Knight of Cups, you have an offer of so much like love in the way of help that is not this energy. So you're going to want to be redirecting your energy to the divine genius. Another word for that is God, creator, source. And we all have particular divine geniuses too. So it's like, you know, when you think about the ecosystem of the other worlds, you're going to have a deity plane, which is a higher authority than, say, like the ancestral plane, which is the underworld. And the underworld is not all like, it's not all hell and ugly. Like some of it is really, it's a world with lots of worlds within it. So you're going to want that deity plane. You as the one have a very natural relationship to the divine. You as the one have divine powers within you. You are representing almost the goddess archetype in the world. And so like this assault against you is severe because you're carrying that power, but that power, if connected to the divine, is something that can lift you up and lift you out of this and transform the way that your life has been operating. So the limerence and the disassociation, I want you to think about this differently, because it's not like you have to quit. And I think maybe you've tried to do that before. Because here's where we get really tripped up. Like we live in this patriarchal world. We have all of our magic is buried. Our religious technology has been co-opted. We don't know how to access the divine without some kind of dogmatic story. All of that is a very complicated matter. And so when it comes to you being an extraordinarily magical person with really powerful magical traits, and you've been dealing with this destroyer most of your life, what's going to like really lift you up out of this is going to be that connection to the divine, where you are taking that it's not disassociation all the time. It isn't. Disassociation we understand as like something that happens when you're in a traumatic event that kind of saves you like from the impact of it. But that's because it's a spiritual tool. It's a magic thing that you can like take yourself out of. Like if you were a person from antiquity, like 1,000 years ago, and you wanted to take yourself out of a situation that you were unable to cope with the pain of, you would say a prayer and a spell to pull yourself into that space. Now it's kind of automatic, but this is a trait that is magical inherently. It allows you to go into other realms to seek sanctuary when you need it. Now that this destroyer knows that you don't know that, and just think, you know, like that's where like what we call maladaptive daydreaming, again, you're able to interact with other realms. When you're interacting with other realms, you're interacting with symbols. You're interacting with your intuition. What feels good, what feels bad. That's all intuition is. You're feeling. It's from the inside. It's not, you're not thinking it through. Intuition is a felt gnosis. Feels good, feels bad. it's not a perfect science. Sometimes we feel bad when we have to do something that, you know, is good for us. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of work with what that means. But that connection, I'm just trying to concentrate again. You need some kind of connection to like what you would call God, and you need to cultivate it, and you need to cultivate it with an open heart, and you need to not feel like there's dogma and that there's stories around it, because this energy is going to manipulate you with any story about good and evil where it can make you feel disempowered, because as long as you feel like you need it or like you can't beat it and you feel that disempowered, it can have control over you. And so you're going to be using that power of your imagination is another way of saying it, but it's also your access to the other realms, the trapdoor to the other realms. You're going to be using that trapdoor to the other realms to connect with your ascended ancestors, to connect with your ascended guides, to connect with the ascended spirits that love you and are here to pull you through this and want to show you that you can have all of those beautiful dreams. You can go into that magic of weaving. That's what that is. It's weaving magic. And you can weave beautiful things. You don't have to abandon your magic. In fact, you're encouraged to use your magic. So when you find that this energy is coming towards you with a seductive, enchanting, kind of delicious poison, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to like use your imaginative properties, right? You're going to go into the other realms and you're going to call on the various energies of help that and it could be as simple as the version of myself that has already lived the life that I'm in, that is ascended. I need your assistance now. I need the assistance of the ascended ancestors. I need to be shown now. And you're going to want some kind of anchoring with some form of God that you feel at a level of gnosis is for you. And you're going to want to pray. And then when in that prayer, in one way or another, you're going to call forth your powers. I call forth my power and I command you to leave. You're going to do this work. And this work is not scary, because this energy has no teeth. It's all psychological thriller. That's all that it is. It's all in the head. It can only manipulate you at the level of consciousness. To the extent that there are roots, probably spiritually, like at a soul level, that have been like cultivated over thousands of years. Like that's the problem that I'm seeing with that tree. You're still doing it. That's what this Eight of Swords is. Like you are left alone, Five of Pentacles, with this Eight of Swords. I don't see my way out. And your way out is through connecting with divine forces that can move you through this. Let me get more cards, because I feel like, you know, I really want you to know with this Empress here and the sublimation that you're doing it. You're already doing it. You're already successful at this. You may feel stuck, so I want to kind of look at that a little bit. Even if this goes really long, this one might be like an hour. I'm going to let it be. I will let it be. I really want to get you through this, and we will. So if it goes long, it goes long. I don't think I've ever succeeded at like a short reading in my life. I wish I could. I wish that I could be that kind of a reader. You know, it's funny because this is the energy with the Destroyer. This is like the energy of the pick me in a way. Like it would have forced you into some kind of like position of like, it operates around deprivation, and its first order of business is always to like, make you feel insecure. So, wait, I just lost the channel there. What is that now? Your self-concept has been really screwed up, and your sense of like who you really even are at this point has been like messed around, because it, yeah, it's some nasty magic with this thing. Three of Pentacles. Operates through the church a lot. This energy operates through the church a lot. It's crucial and critical that you see your value. It's crucial and critical that you see that you're a warrior, that you have been a champion. Even though you are in the Hanged Man position right now, this is time. This is related to timing. with the Three of Pentacles here being about like something big is being built from this space with you. The Page of Pentacles is, again, this is like being pulled off of you. And again, like these ancient roots are being like pulled off. These ancient influences are being pulled off. They're going to come at you like very rarely these days, like in the form of just like slip ups, but you know you don't want to be around this energy. You don't like it. It no longer has a grip. That's where you've had complete and total victory. It's never going to grip you again. It's never going to get back with you. Like you're never going to get back with it. This energy has done enough damage in your life, and you've realized that there's a way out and that there are other voices that you could connect with, and you are everywhere in the realm of victory. But the habits and the positioning that this thing has you at means that like you have probably been placed in such a corner with that Eight of Swords in your life and this Four of Pentacles. So Four of Pentacles is going to be financial straits. Eight of Swords is going to be like not knowing where your options for growth end up being, like not even being able to see an opportunity on the horizon. And the Five of Pentacles is going to be like really not having any kind of a support system there. So that's like the Hanged Man kind of a position. And believe me, I know that this sounds really harsh, but whoever this reading is resonating for, like we're not missing a beat. So it's not going to hit for everybody. For some people, this is going to seem like absolute nightmare. For others, they're like, thank you for being like willing to like, you know, so like, again, I can feel a little bit of resistance out there. It's not for everybody, but if it's true, it's not a stuck thing. We're not stuck here. We're talking about it. You know, you cried out, Spirit, help me. And now we're like, okay, we have to work on it. You know, we're going to do it. So what I'm looking at here with the Hanged Man and the stuck position is like you have been positioned for all intents and purposes in terms of what you can see like physically in front of you in this place. That's where this energy has you positioned. But you also very deep down inside of you know that you are created for great things, have the capacity for great things, and are meant for great things with this Three of Pentacles. It's gonna be a slow process. And so such a slow process that if you're looking at this like, well, it's been slow because life has, like it's been a while, it's been a long time, it could be a whole life. Yes, there is still something very big being brought through your life experience of rejecting this energy that has like a paradigm shifting effect on the unconscious collective of like this world. So you're not doing something insignificant, you're doing something very significant. You have changed the portrait that has been like a template of abuse and sublimation for thousands of years. So that's huge. Where you are right now with this though is like you have to somehow be able to pick up your head from this position and say, okay, now I'm moving into a time and a space where I'm supported, where this has no power over me, where I have the authority and dominion to know what I'm dealing with and take the steps to disconnect it from myself. It might be a process of undoing the habits that established this position. So this conditioning would have established habits that have you like looking from this Hanged Man position of, I don't know, without those opportunities for various levels of growth, without being the entry into various types of participation with life, you might really be looking at things from a place of, this all sounds well and good, but how do I escape? The good news is this has no power over you anymore. It used to be able to knock you down at every juncture, probably up until like maybe even like very recently. Because you've made significant changes where you're like, I'm not gonna think like that. That doesn't feel good, that doesn't feel right. So now that you have disconnected and you're no longer actively falling into a dozy sleep with this energy, or you've begun to realize that you don't want to, the work here with this Four of Swords and healing, this Knight of Cups, which is an offer of love, and this Page of Coins, again, we've got the Knight of Pentacles and we've got the Page of Pentacles. It's not an easy 1, 2, 3, go. You're also free, right? At the same time, you're free of the rancorous energy that no longer has influence, and the roots are being pulled out as we speak. You might even feel them. I know that sounds weird. It's true. I can see something, I'm seeing something. So, its patterns and its root systems are being pulled out. Its influence is being pulled out. You have overcome it. You have been victorious. It took a hell of a long time. Now the world is technically your oyster, but you don't know the world and what's in it. So let's take a look at that, because that's what we're looking at with the Empress. You are pregnant with so much promise here, and all you have to do is be able to supplement this energy's influence in order to really fully kind of step into it. You are in this Hanged Man position right now, but we're going to get out of there. Because here's what we see. With this drowned king, and you have drowned this king. You have done it. I'm not kidding. And you did it in a funny way. The way that you did it was you were unpredictable AF. Every single time this energy is like, this is who you are, this is who you're gonna be, and you know, you were willing to take the punishment. You were willing to walk to the beat of your own drummer, sing to the sound of your own song. Like, you were there 100% for that. And as a result, like, this energy could not control you. You also used your psychic abilities, which it was counting on you never to have access to. As long as you don't know what your powers are, as long as you don't know who your creator is, as long as you don't know how to connect, you will be connecting to the wrong thing, and it will be feeding you garbage. And this is an energy that lives very proudly in a church. It preys on divine feminine magic and anybody who has a large and intense preponderance of it. There's a collective of bees around the goddess. Because I keep on seeing, because we have the bees. This is the pile. Because we have the bees and this is the pile. I keep on seeing like that this is a collective that works in concert with the divine feminine aspect of God in principle. So you are of a collective in soul extension to that which would represent the goddess on earth in one way or another. And so look at this earth and look at the way the goddess is represented. That's why you're having trouble. You represent the energy that has been most persecuted, abused, and put through the meat grinder. Divine feminine magic is scorned if you start speaking about it publicly, because you're not allowed to have psychic visions without being thought of as crazy. So we see this on a very, very big macro level, but like on the micro level with you, like since you have this magic, you have to heal from a lifetime of previous to this moment in time, this thing having dominion to hurt you. This thing having dominion over everyone on earth to one degree or another, because it's manipulative. It's not just through your family line. I see this as being so damn old that it's like 15 branches of like the tree. Like, I'm seeing it as being a huge conglomerate. It might even be like an entire, like I might be looking at some kind of like a lineage that's like specific to a place. All right, we're gonna let it go so long, and I'm gonna just be okay with that, because I really want to show you that this inspiration, you have the key. You've figured out how to open this door. You have actually, this locked room, you have made potions, you have made alliances, you have cleaned up the space, you have delivered and healed everyone in it. You have such a good mastery over this room that you were forced into, and you have done what nobody else has ever been able to do. Everybody else locked in this room, screaming, crying, murdering, like drunk. You locked in this room, making like this gorgeous, look at those potions all in the back, organized, beautiful. The only thing that we need to get you to do with this Hanged Man, this 4 of Pentacles, this 8 of Swords, and this 5 of Pentacles is leave that room. That's it. You're not locked in that room. You have made a castle and a home and a temple out of a room that used to be a torture chamber, having overcome this energy. But you also need to overcome this energy to the extent where you're able to open that door and walk out. So that's what we're going to be looking at right now, because this is still, like when we talk about what an attachment is, like, this is a tricky thing, because sometimes these attachments come from, Queen of Swords and 7 of Pentacles. Sometimes these attachments have been working on our family lines for so many generations. And this is one of those. Is there an opportunity to go and, to get some kind of somebody to help with this? You could, but I mean, you're doing a really good job of managing it. I don't know what it would mean to get someone to help with this, honestly. I don't even know how much I would be able to help with this, to be completely honest, because it's such a stronghold. It's what we call a stronghold. With this Knight of Pentacles, it would be a very slow process. And so this is such a stronghold that you would be making incremental, and I think this is important to note. Yeah, you can definitely go to certain people to try and help you remove this fully, but those people that you go to are going to bring you into an incremental process, because this is it's an incremental removal. I don't know how to, because we have to get you out of conditioning, right? So you can remove the whole energy, but the conditioning might fling you back into orbit with it if you didn't know that that's what's happening, right? So with the sublimation and the Empress, You're constantly, the reason that it's slow and the reason why it's a process is you are constantly sublimating this energy. So it's not like a traditional exorcist because you share these traits. So you can't take your eyeballs out. I mean, I guess technically, I mean, it's not just your eyes, right? So I'd have to look at your DNA to like see where exactly it's coming in, but Spirit is telling me it's pretty varied. But what we're looking at here in terms of like, the sublimation is every single time something not you sort of like asserts itself in your energy field, and this is tricky. You know, this is going to be a process of you being like, I'm not an enraged, judgmental person. Why am I having these thoughts? Like, why am I being shown these proposals about somebody else trying to, you know, hurt me? Like, what are the, like, you're going to be monitoring the proposals that you're hearing about other people. If they sound like, why am I even caring? Why would I even bother? Immediately shut it down. That's a sublimation. That's sublimating whatever this influence is to your will. That's what you're going to be doing constantly. And you will get rid of this thing, right? But there is a process of sublimation that is going on here. With the Empress, you have all of the ability and all of the power to do this. In fact, you're pregnant with so much promise. With this Queen of, the High Priestess. The Queen of Pentacles and the High Priestess here with the, this energy. Yep, with the Death card here. So the World, so the Death card and the World card means you will be finished with this. And when you are finished with it, it's going to be a rebirth, not just for you, but for there is such a long line of screaming, crying, agonizing. The word I'm getting, and I want to be careful about this. I've heard this before, actually. I've been seeing this lately. This vision keeps on coming back, so I think we're going to probably be looking at it and figuring out what it means. But the way that this energy, this destroyer energy, looks at this the divine feminine aspect of God as represented on earth. You have the spark of that which divinity considers its partner in one way or another. That's why I'm saying that in hell or high water, you need a spiritual practice. Hell or high water, you need a divine god or goddess of some kind that you can be in intimate relationship with, because that's what you were created for. This thing wants to subvert that and point it at itself in one way or another. And so when we look at this, the World card and the Death card, the transformation that you're going through right now is not just for you. It's every single person that this energy of destroyer looked at what they brought into the world and immediately said one word and tried to do everything in their power to make that one word true. It's the curse that they tried to place over energies that have this divine thread. And the curse that this energy tried to put over you and over your life, the curse that this energy has tried to put over you lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetime, it's going to be the word barren. It's going to be the word barren. And that doesn't mean that you can't have kids. It means everything that you try to bring into this world, it gets aborted one way or another. Trying to keep your creative and creator capacity from being something that you ever feel recognized or that you ever feel entitled to. Like, you keep your expression down, your praise down, because if anyone were to see your expression or their praise, they would know that this counterfeit was nothing, right? And so like there's a big concerted effort here, and that's the truth of it. And like what it means for you to step away from that is to get away from narratives of false intimacy and false love. Get away from any kind of vanity that creeps up on you and says and shows you a version of beauty that you can only upkeep with like age and like lots of like work. You know what I mean? Like if this isn't an energy that is coming up to you and showing you how you are uniquely beautiful just as you are, and that even your expression of how you adorn yourself is uniquely beautiful. If this energy is criticizing your beauty or holding it against any kind of standard or trying to coax you to meet it, that's not the kind of energy that you want to sit with. That's this energy. So you want to look at these moments where it's going to say you're the most beautiful and then bring you into a spin on what it means to perform that beauty. You want to flick it away and you want to say, no, 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 no. I am beautiful. I now seek the energy of Aphrodite to show me what my beauty means and show me how my beauty aspects, to show me an experience of having that beauty be recognized and mirrored back to me. Now you can ask the real deity for the real thing that you need in relationship to what it would mean to be appreciated that way. And you're just flicking this other energy that is like pulling you into some story about specialness that exists in another, can't exist in this way or that way, or would need to, you know what I mean? Like there's something there. And so with this Queen of Pentacles and this Nine of Wands, you're really exhausted. Your position, on this earth is not even recognized. This energy has ubiquitously, with this High Priestess and this Four of Wands, tried to keep this like the era of the High Priestess, because that's the one, you're the High Priestess, the era of the High Priestess. And again, I want you to, I think it's so important for us, because I feel that there's a guide coming in to say, like, let's talk about this for a minute. Gender is a performance, and I want to just like be very, very careful about that, because I mean that related to this destroyer, because it's the divine feminine energy is a magical, sexual, sensual energy that can exist in a body that is genetically male, or a body that is genetically female. So it doesn't really matter what the essence houses itself in. The way that it expresses is going to then be in one way or another. And when I say performance, I don't mean a negative way. Like, I'm trying to get it right. Like, Spirit is showing me faces, okay? And so I wish that the camera was facing me, and one of these days I'll figure out how to like do that so we can have both. I like you to see the cards come out, it's important, but I also like you to see my face sometimes, because I want to show you, like, there is a beauty that, like, okay, like the Spirit saying, just put the example out there. There's a femininity that we can associate with Texas, like, and then there's a femininity that you can associate with New York City. And then there's a femininity that you can associate, like, that's what I mean by, like, we're adhering to archetypal templates when we find our sense of ourselves and what it means to express in certain ways. So this energy is going to try and distract you from where your beauty actually is, like naturally, like praise. Praise is when your authentic expression, right? And so, like, there's a lot here that, like, that with this High Priestess being shut down, and the type of beauty that you are not having a place in this world. So you don't see or experience yourself as beauty, and you don't see or experience yourself as valued, because you don't live in a gorgeous, beautiful, opulent temple, surrounded by your deities and your other like mystics, operating in a kind of authentic worship of the divine, and also participating in what it is to like create. And like, so there's all of these things about what it means to be you and the world that was designed against it. And this energy, this is very particular, but it's also very, very broad, because I'm talking to a group that is related to an emperor from so long ago that is like got a troop of hunters. It's really weird. You've already sublimated this energy though. So the only thing that you have to do is continue to sublimate it. You have to continue to be like, that's not me. You have to continue to find your beauty in the face of what beauty it would present to you to try and be, right? Because, like, there are things that we find that are aesthetically like us that we want to emulate. That's totally normal. That's what it is to imprint and be imprinted upon, and everybody does that. But in terms of like you considering beauty not what you are, it's somewhere else, like, that's what I'm trying to get at here. That's what we want to overcome. And so the World card here being a new chapter for you as this queen position, in this established queen position. You are the wounded warrior right now, which means you're exhausted, and you're like, that's where we are with the Hanged Man. You may have had these epiphanies and been able to do all of this work, but it feels like really late in life to be getting there. Or not just late in life, but like it might feel like all these opportunities that you wanted were missed under the guise of whatever this was, and now it's just all too late. I'm feeling that with this Nine of Wands and that Hanged Man. The Death card talks about a total and complete transformation of your life, and a total and complete transformation of how you feel yourself to be and who you feel yourself to be. I'm seeing a giant ball of sun, you glow, and this energy is like a big cape over you, and you consider yourself moving through the world as a cape with a glow underneath, but you're really just the glow, and removing that cape is going to change everything for you. You've got all of the energy that is like with you to help you with this. And so I'm going to end really right here, because we're over an hour and we're just in pile number one. You know, in terms of like this message is that there is love outside of darkness, and you are in this position of the Hanged Man, but you are changing everything that you do to sublimate this energy to your creativity and your creative expression. You are killing it. You're erasing it. You're making it blind. It can't even find you. And so you now, with the student, have an opportunity to begin to learn the skills that are going to help you, like, because you lack some experience in the world. That's the truth. In one way or another, there have been social opportunities that have been denied to you. And so you lack a certain amount of experience in the world, but yeah, right. A prostitute and the rebel. I love the prostitute and the rebel and the Midas. Okay, so bottom of the deck, we've got alchemists. You're now working with new alchemy. The alchemy you are working with, you are not controlled by this energy anymore. This energy does not have influence by you. You have largely disempowered it, and you have largely disengaged it. But now there is a feeling of like void, of emptiness, of how do I move on? I don't know how to do it. I don't have the opportunities. I have built my life around a structure of defense. Where is it? Yeah, no, I keep on seeing that keyhole. And like, this is your palace, this is your temple, but you've been conditioned to these pathways of moving around in the world, and there's nothing locking you in anymore. And so it's going to be for you about bringing new things in. You're bringing new things into the mix. You're upsetting your habits. That's what you have to do. That's going to be like what it takes to have this transformation and overcome this death card, is you've got to upset your habits. You have to be able to take the knowledge that you're given and start to translate into action. You've gotten really good at responding to the divine genius and just kind of keeping it with you, you know, but there is you have a lifelong devotion to knowledge and an openness to lifelong learning, and that is something that you have mastered. And now this is a call to do something with it. Start to participate with the stuff that you have learned anywhere. Start having conversations about your special interests. You're going to have to be putting more into the day, even if it makes you a little uncomfortable. We're talking about leaving a comfort zone. You've already conquered this energy. So now it's just like experiencing life outside of its purview, outside of its control. You know, with the prostitute energy here, this is definitely linked. These two are so linked, it's not even funny. This is an energy that says, for your survival, you have to lay down. You're less powerful than me and you need me. Like all the ways in which it, you know, like this is the only love that you're going to get, so you might as well go with it. Or there's a lot going on there. And so this is also saying that like the most important thing for you is your material wealth. Doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. As long as you have that, nothing else matters. As long as that's under wraps, nothing else matters. If you don't have that, you can't live. So this is going to be like, you know, trying to get you to feel like you can only survive by negotiating your power away. First, we're going to add new things. Then you're going to think about what it is to work with this. This is going to be a process. Like I said, this whole thing is going to be a little bit slow. It's a process of sublimating. You know, you're saying, I can do something with this information that I have. And then you're saying, I am not going to do this, you know, give your life away to something that you aren't meaningfully enjoying because it's the only way to survive. Yes and no. That means you give your life away to survive to a certain extent, and you take all the rest of that time and you try to make that knowledge into something. This rebel energy that travels with you, that you have with you, and it has been your saving grace. It has saved you every single time. It has been the sword. It has been the shield. It has been your like companion. It has been your superpower. This, for the first time in your life, needs to be tamed. You need to tame that rebel energy. This is what the sublimation is, because this is going to be like everything that this energy conditioned you with. And with the rebel card, the way that this energy conditioned you is it influenced you, and you how do I get this? Let me get it right. You have no trust for systems and authority, and that makes sense. It really does. Systems and authority have never been anything but cruel and difficult and horrible, and you've never been able to meet those standards, so you've never been given entry. So it makes sense for you to reject every single person who fits the mold. It makes sense for you to keep yourself out of environments that are mold adherent, and like mold. Yeah, like I saw like mold, like the fungus, and mold fitting the mold. So kind of the same, poison. So like these are good things. These are good qualities that you have. But at the same time, there's a softer approach that Spirit wants you to bring in terms of you don't have to be operating in defense all the time. You see yourself as in defense of all these systems, and even all of these, like, you know, when you think about like what is valued by society, all of those, like I see marriage, I see degrees, I see like everything that you rebel against. Like at this point, Spirit is saying, I want you to stop operating as if that's your only mode in the world when it comes to like it, because it signals that you feel overpowered, and Spirit wants to help you come into a place where you're feeling empowered. And so you're not fighting everyone's opinions, and you're not trying to be seen clearly. You would have been misunderstood by every single person who talked to you with this energy of the destroyer around you. And so you're clicking at, I'm gonna defend myself, I'm gonna show them, I'm gonna say this, they're gonna see this, this is how I need to be. Like really trying to get it right, to get people to get it right. And you know by looking at them that they're not going to get it right, because look at their patriarchal, you know, outfit. Spirit's saying like that's not helping. We want to work on that a little bit. We want to get a little softer than that. With this miser here, and again, these two things are related. A lot of times Spirit will put you in orbit of people that you could have a good kind of a dynamic with, have some fun. There might be a soul contract there that you're not aware of. They kind of have your attention. They might be even a little funny or fun, but you've already put them in a box. That person believes that. They don't do that. They do that, and therefore I want nothing to do with them, because I know that they're going to look at me like this, and I don't need to deal with that, and I don't want to school them. You know, so like there's a lot of people like that you have a contract with, and that you're like, oh, shut the door. I see that T-shirt. Now, the reason why this Midas and Miser card is coming up here is because you're a light in the darkness. You shine like the top of the Chrysler building. Your beauty is like an ineffable glow that has little or if nothing to do with how beautiful you already are physically. Like you tip the balance in every room. You have this very special, very powerful divine feminine energy that travels. Like I'm seeing like this, it's bright as the sun. People want to know you. People want to be in orbit with you. They want to talk to you. They want to abandon their beliefs for one afternoon to just kind of go on a journey with you. They want to like learn what you have to teach. They really truly want some of that sunshine. They may have been birthed to you, birthers. I don't know what that is. I don't know what, but they may have, you know, they may be very entrenched in their own stories that you feel are so against you. But that story that they have that you feel is against you ain't got nothing on how funny, how sweet, how cuddly, how adorably entertaining you are at every opportunity. And so when you're miserly, when you're greedy about all of the good that you have to share, because those people are gonna not breathe, you're not operating in that effervescence. You're not operating in that glow and that shine. And that's going to be your way from love in the darkness into love. So you knowing your value means showing up in your full glowing glory, which is exactly what you've been conditioned against by all sorts of abuses and punishments. And you might be like, well, I'm not going to trust the world. And I'm telling you, you felt an energetic shift probably like a week ago. You're in a new world. You want to get rid of those old patterns. That's this life and death transformation, that's rebirth for you. Because that Hanged Man is the old patterns, it's the old tapes, but there's nothing powerful that is attached to them. You can sublimate them and step into a whole new experience of yourself as the sun's splendor. And you will with this death card and this transformation. But it's important for you to take your knowledge and turn it into something. Put the work in. It's important for you to manage what it means to have to work for a living while you do that, and not make it an excuse why you can't do it. I can't do the things that I want to because I have to sit down and do this other crap that sucks the life out of me. You're gonna have to negotiate with other crap as it triggers your feelings of like major woundedness, because it's like Spirit is showing me that it's the minor grievances that put you over the edge. It's like the dysfunctional mailbox that makes you like a raging lunatic and it wrecks the entire day, and not like the preponderance of a destroyer who hunted you up until, you know, a month ago, and until recently you were getting eaten alive by this thing. That's what you're really angry about. That's what really took a lot of your life. The mailbox not working and the stupid jingly thing, and it doesn't do the, I'm just seeing someone like trying to open the damn, right? So Spirit is showing me like that you have to work with the big emotions that come up in those times. You have to do healing around what it means to have to give of yourself in ways that you don't want to. You don't want to deal with this grievance. You don't want to deal with this, that. That's going to be emotional work and maturity work. But that's separate from taking the knowledge that you have and bringing it into the world. That's going to support you. That's going to change your world. As far as this rebel, everything sucks and I've got nothing to do with it. Spirit wants you to turn that into everything sucks and I am here to dance all over it, right? That's where you're called into. And this miser here is like, show up beautiful, show up bright, show up bubbly, confront them with your humanity. Let them look at you with fear. You're freaking amazing. They should be afraid. You know what I mean? So like, this is the transformation, the alchemy here, and what you need to do in terms of like alchemy, in terms of changing your life, is you're going to be bringing in new influences, bringing in new ideas, bringing in new attitudes, bringing in new perspectives. And you're going to be sublimating all of that old stuff, all of those old stories, all those old fantasies. They don't even make any sense. Spirit's showing me somebody walking around with fantasies that only make sense if you're like 20. And you might be young, maybe that's why I'm seeing that, but like you're now not there anymore. And why are those fantasies playing? Because they're disempowering you. They're making you feel worthless. They're making you feel like the value already happened. None of that's true. And so that's the sublimating. This is not really an exorcist of like, get it the hell out, because it, again, with the, wherever it went, this is a part of your family. This is a part of this trait. This is part of working out the story. And you came to this earth to overcome this energy by stepping into your independence, by stepping into your own confidence. Even though you haven't been valued by the world, your world has not been informed by external values. That's this 5 of the competition and temperance. You're going to bring in healing and soothing around this notion that you are this light. You have this power. You are out of the brainwashing that put you into this hanged man. And now with this Empress, you are pregnant with so much possibility that as you sublimate that old stuff and bring that knowledge into some form of communication, there will be a lot of success there. You have to go from reacting to creativity. And right now there's loops of reacting. And so that's where you get creative with the alchemist. You're going to be starting to pull things in. This was a lot. We went really long with this first reading. I'm going to leave it here because we are we're an hour and 15 minutes in, and that is just kind of cuckoo crazy. So I'm going to leave this here. This is going to be a very long reading for whoever picks this pile. I also think whoever picks this pile needed a long reading because you have been subjugated to this trickster who called himself father, who called himself king, who called himself companion, who called himself your lover, but then he shape-shifted into a thief and tried to keep you at a little dilettante for your entire life. You are not doing that. You're going to take this thief and you're going to force it into a sublimation, and you are going to take your life back, and you are going to have confidence, and you are going to transform. This is a new chapter. This life and death card means a death to this destroyer and a rebirth of you standing in your power. And that is where we're going to leave this reading. So you have a crown of influences that are celestial and also more regal. There's a regal quality to you, your soul type. So I'm gonna leave you there. Sending you lots of encouragement and lots of hope. And sublimate, it's time to sublimate this hanged man into your Empress. So let's leave that there, and I'll see you guys again soon. Okay, pile number 2, those of you who chose the Little Mermaid. Let's go ahead and see what the archetypal story that you are in is. What are you in right now in the way of an archetypal story? We have, oh, the unseen, okay, and the box. So you come in with a lot around you, a lot of infrastructure. So this box is looking like a labyrinth to me. So with the unseen and the labyrinth, there's something significant about, let me look at this for a second. There's something kind of, you have a very interesting relationship with the unseen realms. Let me get some more cards on this. So the story that you're in is one that is actually sort of baffling to me, because what I'm seeing more than anything else is that you have an influence on the unseen. Because I'm seeing this like a labyrinth, but then every time I look at it, I almost see it like where you're at the center, and there's like it feels like bleachers, like an arena. So there's something about you and the amount of attention that you have garnered. And I'm not sure how that relates to the story that you are in, because it must be something like to the effect of you came into this world with a unique story, something that like is not average. And so that's why I'm gonna pull cards in a second and see, like, we're gonna describe what that exactly is. But you came into this world with like a very unique story where there's a lot of attention from the unseen realms. So let's go ahead and see what that is. I'm being told actually to use these first. So why do you have so much attention from the realms related to this story that you're in? So it's one of oh, interesting. Actually, it's one of having an audience of one in one way or another. There's audience. The unseen makes me think that well, no, the unseen makes me sure that you have an unseen audience, that there's something about this, but there actually might be a question of you coming into audience, and that's like a strange, that's odd. Let's take a look. You and audience. Okay, let me just take those. Okay, bottom of the deck we have the witch. Okay. I felt that. The magic you seek is inside of you, let it flow. So you come in with like a spotlight around your acumen with magic. Like you have a Mozart level talent when it comes to the unseen realms. And so I want to say that the story that you are in is one where you're much more connected to the unseen realms than you are to the seen realms. And that this this is really interesting actually. This is gonna be you receiving love from like a very unorthodox place. Let me get some more information on this. Because you have transformed the way you see, and I'm seeing this as being like you have the sight, like you have the sight here with the unseen, and then with tangibility, make your dreams real. This is all, there's so much action around you, there's so much like going on that is like of intangible value. It's not the kind of stuff that you can touch in the material world. It's not the kind of interactions that you would have like tangibly. That's an issue that we're going to look at, but I think that there is this way in which you feel like you live much more in the other world than you do in this, with the witch card on the bottom of the deck. You're more comfortable in the other world. You have a natural ease and acumen with the other world. You are, with the witch card there, a born bridge between two worlds. And so the reason why there's so much attention on you right now is because we're entering the era of the witch. And so you would have come in with a story, a witch story, where you represent in the world somebody who is considered odd, or like there might be suspicion, or there might be anytime we see this natural magic in a person, we know that it represents as quirky traits, like in relationship to others, because it is slightly otherworld. there's a changeling kind of a quality to you. And feel loved and proud here is something that we want to look at, because with resilience, burn the past away. I think that since so much of your talents exist in a way that is invisible to the world that we're in, feeling loved and proud like might be difficult. And also what might be difficult is this notion of making things feel more tangible around you. And so it's the story of the witch. You know, the person who is born between two worlds, the person who doesn't quite fit in, the person who, all of that. But the person who has a very, you have a very tangible relationship with what most people don't even pick up on. So let's get some more. Let's see where this story is taking us. See where we're going with this. You're from another world. So this is the mermaid group. And so I'm hearing, part of their world. I want to be where the people are. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Yeah. The Fool, yeah. So let me just get some more cards. That's interesting. Hold on, let me see where our guides are bringing this. Beautiful. I hear, I want to hear what the people know. Da-na-na-na. So your voice has been taken. In one way or another, the fact that your experience is so unique, and the fact that you don't feel tangibly seen, heard, or understood by like the basic folks that you kind of encounter in one way or another, there's almost this way in which like your voice has no place, your voice is displaced. But you're pretty loud. That your guys are just like, that's the thing. Like with the Six of Wands. Six of Wands. Sorry, this is one of these decks where I gotta really look at it because it doesn't have distinctive. You know, the interesting thing here is that you have been victorious under the water. In the deep recesses of the unconscious mind, in the deep recesses of unconscious places and spaces, you as the witch in the world have been moving mountains like at a level that like you do a ton of work out there with the divine genius. You are deeply immersed in a spiritual world that is actually quite nourishing, and you are this I'm seeing the arena again. I'm seeing the sports arena. The interesting thing is like, okay, your guys are showing me like the way that they see it. They're like, if this was a movie, this would be your favorite movie. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, what that means. If the story of the witch, right? We're going to talk about like, this is the story that you're in, right? If the story that you were in were a movie, you come into the world, you're a bridge between two worlds, you're immersively connected to the other side. There's like all of your time in that other, you know, experience with those other energies, like you are moving mountains. It's an action adventure. You're knocking out of the ballpark. And then like we switch to the scene where she's walking through the schools of like the schools of life. She's walking through the halls of school, or the halls of, you know, her job, and it's just miserable, and she's, you know, not, you know, she's hidden, and she's not getting any kind, you know, everybody thinks that she's just like, you know, a regular person, but really she's like, you know, this amazing like dream warrior. So like if it were a fictional movie, you would be like this character, this situation, this dream. Like I love it, and you would be fantasizing about yourself in this position. But because it's your actual life, a lot of times what your guys are saying is like most of your walking through the halls of life is spent in like feeling like, really, I hate my life. I hate my fucking life. Like that's, and I should not curse on YouTube. I always forget, but like I get in trouble for that. But yeah, like I hate my life. You know what I mean? Is the kind of, so we're looking at here. So your guys want to kind of lift your head up about that a little bit. They know that you know that the material world is just a, like it's just a veneer. It's here, we're dealing with it, but like here today, gone tomorrow. Like, you know, and we know that like there's another world out there, there's another reality out there, and that it exists in a richness where you feel at home and where you are close to the divine and you are constantly working with the divine genius. You're really comfortable in that arena. Why do you hate your life? Why do you hate your life, right? So this is where Spirit is saying, you know, part of what it is going to mean to really like look at this story and transcend this story is to embrace the otherness and not feel like it's a curse. And so with the Fool card here being about transform the way you see, you know, there's a lot built up around belonging that let's get some more cards on that. Let me see what's going on here. You are entering a new phase and you're taking a leap of faith, but there's something more to this. You fly underwater, you breathe underwater. So I'm seeing the unconscious mind or the unconscious space where the witch has someone born with this trait, someone born with this magic, operates naturally. That's her natural stomping grounds. That's where her praise, her natural expression of self is. That's where her creative powers and her magic is like tailored for. So Spirit wants you to start new with your perception of your life. And like this Fool card with transform the way you see is like jump into this from a different perspective and see if you can't take on the island. I'm seeing like the island where you live your life as like a place of bounty instead of a place where you are abandoned. Let's take a look. Let's find out. Let's look at it now. One more shuffle. Because for you to make things tangible is actually hard, and you can and you will, but this is actually a point in your life where you have to balance what this means with, you know, the story that you are stuck in is one of disconnect. And so we want to do something about that, because disconnected from the regular world does not mean it's a bad thing. And you have to change your mind about that to a certain extent, but you still need to change your mind about like who you are and what it means to be you, but also be able to connect to the world with that. It's important. It's something there. So with the yellowing and Chiron, yeah. Healing this witch wound for you and the earth's heart. Healing this witch wound for you is the most grounding thing that you can do. You're not grounded. That's what I'm seeing here more than anything else. And you're going into a phase in your life where where healing is going to be grounding for you. This earth's heart, like that, yeah, I'm seeing something like, gotta take a sip of water. Almost like a life where you felt buried alive almost. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but I'm seeing that rose as being almost like buried alive. And that's not true. You are not buried alive. You are pulsing at you are pulsing with the this heart's blood that is quite literally like the substance of divinity. And healing the witch wound for you is being able to show up in life as you fully. That doesn't mean people aren't going to have a problem with it, because it breaks all of their, you know, codes, and it rings all of their bells as, you know, emergency, non-compliant, you know, that will happen. But with you being able to see yourself differently and not see yourself as being condemned, because people condemn, you know, those who have a connection to the other side, or people condemn what it means to like be predominantly like in states of reverie. There's a lot to that. It's a tricky kind of a business. There's something called like escapism and checking out that is not what it is to be the mystic. The mystic very intentionally goes into spiritual reverie for the purpose of connecting to the divine. Where that can kind of go askew, especially if this is your giftedness, is a habit of escape, because it's very easy to go into the other realms. It's very easy to slip into that. You have a natural acumen towards working with other realms, which means that like you can intentionally enter those spaces and work with them, but you have a natural acumen for those realms, means you can also spend all of your time kind of just like dozing in them in lieu of like being present. So this is kind of like, that's what it means for you to transcend this story, is to get some more balance with it. And so there's the balancing act here is around this notion of you needing to love this part of yourself, needing to know that you are the like I'm hearing the golden goose, which is a strange thing. I don't even know what that story is. I guess like an ancestor is saying you're like the golden goose. I don't know what a golden goose is, so I don't have a good way of conveying that. But this notion that with the box, because you're, yeah, these piles might be merging a little bit. There might be some overlap, but there's something here about, yep, with the judge, curse breaking. Okay, so you're able to see the realms very clearly, and you're able to see into the lives of others very clearly. And so again, like, you know, you have this way of looking at the world and having the most negative viewpoint because you have this inside view. But what you're looking for is everything. You have the inside view. That's a plus. That's like a check mark, and that's a good thing. But if you are looking in defense of like someone else's cruel judgment of you, then you're going to find their cruel judgment of you, because everyone, there's a chatter that happens. Now, when we have psychic abilities, we're going to pick up on different levels of consciousness, different aspects of consciousness, different things. You're going to pick up on, it's going to be like a chaos. It's going to be like a soup of chaos. And so a lot of your intention, like where you enter into what you're looking for or what you're seeing, there's confirmation bias, and there's also habits of seek and find. You know, if you're looking for it, you're going to find it. So your position on the world is, you know, these people don't get me, they don't like me. If they do, like, they think that I'm going to hell or something, you know, like the witch wound. And so when you're looking and interacting with people and you're picking up on their superstitions and you're picking up on their fear and you're picking up on their quick judgments and their wrong judgments, because here you are with like psychic sight of 5 realms, and like they have like, you know, literally a keyhole, and they're going to stand, you know, on the soapbox of superiority and proclaim that, you know, they're right and you're wrong. All that stuff. Since you're always kind of in orbit with like that information, it's really easy for you to look at the world and be like, these people are always going to hate me, and they're always so small-minded, and they're always so stupid, and the portrait that they're putting me in is like miserable, and I just hate them. Spirit is saying that that's not the right way to look at it at all. that just because you can hear people's thoughts in one way or another, or you can pick up on like the subtleties, and the subtleties and their thoughts are chatter, it's a nasty judgmental chatter, doesn't mean that's who they are. They might not be that chatter, and they might not be, well, let's put it this way. Their chatter is meaningless. So whatever like gossipy stuff that you pick up on, it's completely meaningless. It's not really about you at all. That's like one of the first things that you want to know about like giftedness, is like you got to throw out the chatter, the static, it's basically static between radio stations. You've got to throw out that static. If you get caught up in this person doesn't see it right and that person doesn't see it right, no, because they're in the static, they're in between. So Spirit is saying like part of self-acceptance and part of self-love is nurturing like that you have this connection to the divine, and then working with your intuition and what it means to like have this sorts of like first, second, third sight, so that you're not like allowing things that are in competition for your powers to sort of hijack your perspective and say, you know, because if you're picking up on someone's negative attitude and it's just like they are having a bad day, you can stamp that person as like a negative and like never give them a second chance, but not know that like that was the worst week, they were going through a divorce, like, and they, you know what I mean? Like, so there's this judgmentalness that Spirit wants you to work on in terms of what it means to feel like you can be accepted in the world as you, because what we have here with the unseen in the box is a story that says you can only see yourself as accepted by the world as like an outsider, as a traveler, and that's the witch wound, because the witch wound does not give a place for people with this giftedness. Like, you have a giftedness that doesn't have a place, which means that it always feels out of place. It's always seen sort of out of place. It's thrown to the margins, but it's actually like designed to be of a central place, a central position. And so like there is a lot of conflict for you in terms of the way you see yourself, and Spirit wants you to have a whole new view, a whole new vantage point when it comes to the way that you see yourself. That's super important in terms of what this reading wants to give you to get out of the story that you're actually playing out. Like, Spirit is saying for you to go from a place with this story where you feel like you're just never going to meet anyone who's going to see you clearly, or you're never going to get that, like, you know, opportunity to really shine because all these people misunderstand this, that, and the other. There's a pigeonholing kind of a thing. Hold on, my throat chakra just acted up. A little bit of water. Spirit says, I want you to like do away with that and actually see yourself as being like almost like spiritually like at the center of the arena. It's a completely different vantage point. With the page of coins and the make your dreams real, like this is going to be a real process for you. Believe it or not, you have all of the backing in the world with divinity wanting to set you up, wanting to put you in the right position, wanting to like elevate you. But they're not going to do this quickly. They're going to take it one step at a time. They're going to help you make your dreams real because you almost have like no experience being appreciated for these things in a tangible way. And for you to be brought into a place of healing first within yourself about this stuff so that you can be appreciated for it, and whatever comes in the way of like a lack of appreciation doesn't affect you. That's really important, because what I kept on picking up is like you pick up on these things with people, these petty things, all of this static, and you literally can't trust anybody. And that's a really hard way to be. And so when there is a level of it's elevation, there's an audience coming, like that's kind of like, keep on picking that up. You already have the audience in the celestial realms. How that becomes tangible is one step at a time, because you really need to work on this notion of not caring what people think. And I don't mean that in a way that says you haven't been working on it your whole life. I see you as having cycles of success around this, and then things will happen that will really affect your sense of your own pride. And I don't mean pride in a negative way. I mean like there are levels of humbling that you should just never have been like exposed to, but that's part of this witch wound. You heal that witch wound for yourself, and you become kind of a target, you know, and but it's also what it means to step into your divine genius and express from that point. So for you to be appreciated and seen and actually get what you deserve and you need, you also have to be willing and my throat chakra is like literally you also have to be willing to like very firmly from a felt place of knowing speak your truth with pride, despite the fact that there are going to be people booing in those rafters, just like there are going to be people who are cheering in those rafters, because the portrait that you give people is confronting, either in a positive way or a negative way. It is. And so Spirit wants you to become allies with the divine, to revel in your relationship to the arena of like sports appreciation level ancestors that have been just cheering and wanting to bring you into a place where you can be seen for what you are. And so feel loved and proud. And the Hierophant here, you know, this is really speaking of what you're holding in the position. You know, there is a infrastructure thing. Let me get some cards. I think we're doing okay on time. I always go long. I'm like, you know, it's just madness the way that I'm going to try and keep this kind of short though. But I do want to look at this Hierophant, because the Hierophant usually speaks to the institution of marriage, the institution of church, the institution of government, and to feel love and proud when there is no space for the witch in any of these institutions. There's no like, you know, special studies for witchcraft that you can be a teacher at. Like, where are you going to get your appreciation? So there's something here about this that I want to look at, because your guides are tempering you in terms of your pacing with making your dreams real. With the 10 of Cups here, yeah, there's love, like you're loved, but what am I looking at? Yeah, your guys are like, we love you so much. They see you as being like the shining star. You've been really instrumental with their freedom most of the time. What? Wait a minute. Queen of Swords. Okay, we got marriage on the table here. That's very interesting, because with the yellowing and Chiron, the yellowing is again going to be like the sun comes up in your life after a really long phase of darkness, and Chiron is about healing. So this is partially about like you having a position, but with the 10 of Cups, the 10 of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords, and the Hierophant, feel loved and proud. Your world stage, you are, okay, you guys are like, okay, let's manage this. I'm excited for it. I'm like, wait a minute. To make your dreams real, and there are real dreams for you to make real, you need to one step at a time. You have to change the way that you feel about the world and around, and about yourself in the world, and about people in the world. Because right now, they're scary, and you're like not, and you see too much. And it needs to be, you see a lot and you're awesome and you're fine with that, and you have a way of managing the static so it doesn't bother you, and you don't cut people off just at the first, psychic glance, because that's going to be really tricky. You're working with what it means to have full self-acceptance, and the acceptance of those who take the chance and the time to know you, and what it will mean when that also entails, that there will be people who see you and they want to spit on you. You represent the witch. That's in the story that you're in, when you guys are saying the story that you're in, and you are in a story, that's going to be somebody who has so much power that they can't step into a room without scaring people who don't know what authenticity is. Your authenticity, and there are studies on this, authenticity is the most powerful. It's more powerful than love. It's the most powerful energy. And when you are holding authenticity, you have a power that you walk with. The witch is going to be holding a level of authenticity that is striking, that commands. It's an authenticity that commands. And that's going to mean that wherever you go, you're going to elicit a reaction. And sometimes that's a good reaction, and sometimes that's a bad reaction. And if you're thinking, well, it's usually a bad reaction because I can see all this other stuff, this is where we got to work with this witch wound a little bit, because there's a rejection sensitivity that makes a lot of sense. There's not really a place yet, but with the Page of Pentacles and the making your dreams real, one step at a time, you're going to kind of slowly like step into the, I want to say, the limelight a little bit about what it means to be you. What it means to you, for you to speak and say, yes, I'm this way, I do this, and this is what, and I am close to the divine, and I am close to the creator, and I create from that place. Because the Queen of Swords has a level of detachment. She knows that people might not understand her. She knows that they might even be afraid of her, but she doesn't care, because she's the queen, and she knows that she's the queen, and she's sure about what she's sure about, and so she's happy to sit in her place. This isn't some kind of like hierarchical supremacy. There are different roles for different people in terms of their area of giftedness. We're within the body of the whole, and we each have specializations. Yours puts you in a position that has audience. Yours puts you in a position that is up high. Think about every shaman, every high priestess, every preacher, every person with this witch spiritual acumen is at the front of a room with an audience. They channel the muse, they channel spirits. That's what they do. And so for you to see that as a value is critical. And for you to see that as a value is something that you have to do from that place of detachment. And so working on this for you is kind of a one step at a time, because feel loved and proud. Oh my God. We just got it. We just saw it. Hold on. Like sometimes I'll get like hit, like a psychic insight will actually hit me like a brick. I'm going to explain this, and I'm going to try and get it right. This is the divine coming in, okay? This is where your connection to the divine is love. You have always been interested in spiritual stuff because it is like your soul resonance is to operate from that as a center. And people who have this are essentially, I don't want to say that they're married to a spiritual path. That is what it is. The mystic is not looking for love in all the wrong places. The mystic is love, you know? And so this 10 of Cups and this 10 of Pentacles, your wealth and your success in love and family and feeling loved and proud is 100% connected to you being able to like feel that your commitment and your love for the divine is not making you a second-class citizen. It is not making you like a failure at pleasing everyone's expectations. It's like, this is something so special and so powerful that if you were born hundreds of thousands of years ago where they had the divine feminine aspect of God like fully intact, and it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, like this is still this, it's receptive. This type of magic is receptive. That means if you have this type of magic, you are operating in feminine magic instead of, it's a different thing. It's a sight. It's like it's given. So this kind of puts you at an elevated place. If you were born hundreds of thousands of years ago with this stuff and these skills, you would have then immediately been like, you were wedded to the path of the mystic. That means that you are like celebrated in the spirit realm and in your connection to the spirit realm. And when you can do that for yourself, and in doing so for yourself, bring others into orbit with what it means to encounter that, you will have this feel loved and proud, this 10 of Cups and this 10 of Pentacles being valued enough that it like produces wealth. So that's like how you get out of this. Is the story is not, I'm so weird, I'm so rejected, I'm so different, I don't understand these other people, I can't make sense of them, I'm picking up on all their freaky patterns, I have no place in this world. That's not the story. That's the way that you overcome the story that you are in with this pile is it's just turn it around with your perception and from a new place, launch into the world from a new perspective that says, I am of great value. I am like the ambassador between the worlds. I am wedded to my path as a mystic. And that doesn't exclude you from others, but it does make you kind of different. And so it's like stepping into this detachment related to how people view you and moving toward like expressing that power and bringing balance here, you know, because burn away the past means that everything that you've learned about yourself in the past is that you're a freak and you're weird and that's suspicious and like, no, it's not true, like making it up, like, you know what I mean? Like this is what happens with this whole, this gifted set. I mean, even when you are in spiritual circles, there are going to be people criticizing whether or not they feel that you are valid, because that is the hellhole of a patriarchal nightmare that we're all stuck in. So, you know, the divine feminine aspect of God, people who speak from a spiritual place are always condemned, and they're condemned even in their own communities. And the reason that is because we have been conditioned to scrutinize. We have been conditioned to evaluate like poor in judgmental ways. There's a lot that goes on to let, you know, yeah, there's a lot that goes into this. But if you can, from this detached place, feel that your connection to the divine is of true value, like, and it's not like an ancillary, you know, it's just a weird thing that happens, nobody cares. That can be the position, but to actually like take the story that you're stuck in and make it what it could be and what it should be, and like it's a superpower. It's a superpower. It brings 10 of Pentacles, you know, in the way of wealth. It brings 10 of Cups in the way of the type of relationships that turn into family in one way or another. It does not exclude romantic relationships, but it sure doesn't make them the center of your focus. It makes the path of the mystic is where the divine is your main relationship, and everything else is extra. Like everything else is an extra after that. And so it's almost like you get into this place where your divine relationship is so accepted by you, and that you are so accepted by yourself that it is so fulfilling. Then it's a commitment with this Hierophant card and the be proud and feel loved. It's a commitment to be proud of who you are, to feel that you are worthy of love. And that means that you are worthy of authentic expression, no matter what the heck anybody thinks about it, and that you're so rooted in your sense that you are loved here with this heart, this earth's heart, that it's not about getting that feedback from others. And that can be really hard, but if you're holding the divine genius and you keep running with it, you will absolutely succeed at that 10 of Pentacles level. There's no two ways about it. You have no rival. You're really plugged in. And so with this resilience, burn away the past and find balance, you have to burn away those opinions that say like, oh, don't tell anyone that. They're going to think you're a freak. You know what I mean? Or like whatever it is that like informs a negative self-concept of your like immersion in what some may call dream worlds. Like, this is an asset, this is a positive, this is who you are, this is your creator and created to be this way. This is the constellation, you know, in the crown on your head, you know, and you know that the spirit realm is real. And so it's walking away with this 8 of Cups from other people's perspective on what you know is true. Other people's perspective on everything that you are and you do is kind of condemning in one way or another, even when they're supporting. They're supporting, but there's that little bit of shittiness one way or another that has to do with either like, you know, thinking that you can't possibly be what you are because they're not that way, and so how is it just blah, you know what I mean? Or like something along the line of thinking that it's great, but in a way, you know, there's all kinds of ways in which you can't be properly evaluated by people. There's too much baggage around what it is to be this way, but you are properly evaluated by the divine. And then if you're rooted in that proper evaluation, it doesn't matter what people think. And so walking away from how this is perceived in the world completely, because I think you do it intellectually, but with this Judgment card, it's like, no, forever and ever, amen. I don't care. Not I don't care, and I'm going to say I don't care, but I'm going to hear you and your thoughts condemning me, and I'm going to see that fear over there, and then I'm going to count you out as human beings, and then I'm going to go back into the car and I'm going to talk to my spirit guides about how terrible people are. That's not it. That's not I don't care what people think. I don't care what people think is like, I love these idiots who are judging me wrong. It doesn't even matter. May they be given revelation for their own selves. And it's actually not caring to the extent that you're gracious, that you're actually, it's amusing, you know. And so with that Judgment card and this 2 of Wands and the bottom of the deck being about 6 of Swords, you know, and this King of Pentacles, like, you know, moving to a better place with this is you being properly established as you are who you are. And so if you try to go into the world and properly establish yourself under any other guise that excludes this, you're always going to be bumping into this. This is always going to be a story that's going to jump up and say, you don't fit in, you're different, they've noticed, or they liked it, but then they made fun of it, or everything was cool except that no, it wasn't, you just didn't get it. Like all of the layers of that. Moving into a better place with that, establishing yourself and rooting yourself in your own value as relates to the divine, as relates to your position, as relates to your giftedness. Walking away from what they think and making a real judgment about where you are going, who you are, and why you have a right to be there. So it's stepping into a place of self-love and pride. And again, like, I'm going to sort of caution you a little bit because I know that you've done that. But going all the way is falling in love with the divine. If you haven't fallen in love with some divine aspect that you can, like, really, like, people talk about spirituality all the time, but they never talk about what aspect of the spirituality is giving them sustenance and in relationship and that they are in love with. And that's kind of what you need to find in order to offset the balance here, burn away the past, and sort of step into what it means to accept your inheritance and bring that inheritance into the world in a bold way that is Queen of Swords, detached from what anyone might be thinking. And as hard as that is, you're built for it. You're built for holding that kind of power, and you're built for wielding that kind of power. And all you have to do is step into that place of acceptance and step into that place of not just acceptance, but being proud of yourself. And so I'm just going to get a tiny little bit of advice as we're like moving away from, you know, as we like end this reading for you, just a little bit of advice from Spirit, just, you know, in terms of love. Because burning away the past is like dismissing those opinions in the way that they informed you. So those opinions informed you, like, never, you know, to mask, right? They had an effect, and they have an effect. And so to begin to remove those, I'm seeing like to pull those thorns out. I'm just looking at this because it's like, it's simultaneously a message that is like, no duh. Yeah, I know. But where is the sticking point? Where is the point where you can't really run with that, where you can't get past, we can take all of this information and then we hold it up against I hate my life, and I hate my life wins every time because that seems more real somehow. And it's not. And so it's like we kind of really do have to sort of like look at this with the make your dreams real. To make your dreams real is to acknowledge what your dreams are. And if your dreams feel like a movie that can't possibly be recognized by anybody else as true, you're cutting yourself out of this abundant universe that is providing by way of all the tools that you have to express your experience. And in expressing your experience, being that creator, that is where the universe will provide. And so freedom is yours, and be playful. The energy of your guides right now is saying, part of what it means for you to you got to make your dreams real in 2 different places. See? These are huge decks. They each have at least 72 cards in them. If you look on the probability and the math on that, it's totally impossible. And that's why it's so perfect that it's happening in your reading, because in these 2 different decks, you have make your dreams real, make your dreams real. Your guides want this for you. Your dreams sound completely crazy to most people. Your dreams and your experience and the way that it does not sound like something that you can make real, but Spirit is saying that's the thing. Your abundance is in stepping into this commitment, into this relationship with the divine and divine reverie, and making and creating of it and creating a life of it, and really being proud of it, because this is where that abundance is, and the freedom is yours. And so planning to walk fully into this self-expression with be playful, Spirit is saying like, this is just this, there's no hard like edict here. There's no like terrible like you have to do it or else. Like this is no diet that you have to get on in order to be perfectly healthy. Like this is like, be playful about it. Be playful with people that don't understand you and that are broadcasting static. Be playful with yourself when you realize you were misunderstood. Don't have a referendum and go into like I'm seeing like edicts against the universe. Like, know that people are going to be coming from a place that you have a crown in one way or another. That's what it feels like energetically. And to wield that crown not from a place of apologetics, like, I'm sorry, I know it's not, people don't understand, I don't know, like not from that place, but from a place that's saying, yeah, you can see my bling from, like, you see that? That's my crown that is making all of that, jazz around here in this atmosphere. Isn't it gorgeous? If it scares you, that's just you. If you're suspicious, may you be helped. So this is where we have this shift for you. And so to get through this story of difference is to embrace it completely. And it's easier said than done, but there's something about make your dreams real twice that tells me that your dreams are a little bit supernatural and you would never consider making those dreams real. But there's something to be said for very responsibly thinking about, like, and I say responsibly because I saw this flash of information in front of me and I was like, oh, wait a minute, it's a collective reading. Why did I see that? And let me see how to explain that. Yeah, make your dreams real. There is a process there. It has to do with you being placed in the world, a place in the world. You're making your place in the world. It's not given to you, it's something that you're making. And so it's like, it's not just any dream, because you're able to dream some stuff that is just kind of not, Spirit is saying, like, this is really about, like, when you think about the place that you can be in the world and the person that you would be in the world, and if you had a position in the world, what would it be? It's of a magical nature. And so Spirit is saying, like, the entire, this is a arena full of ascended ancestors and ancestors that want to help, are here to help you make those dreams real. And to do that means being proud of who you are. And so that's what we're going to leave. We're going to leave that reading here today. And I hope that that was helpful. That was pretty cool. I really like that, the way that all came out. Your glow up is, your healing and your glow up are linked together. They are a package deal. So as you heal, that glow up is right there with it. But be playful. You're so serious. You are never alone, and your guides are always with you. And they're like, please lighten up a little bit. There's a lot of moping, and it's okay. It's not moping. It's your guides are saying the pouting, and it's okay. They love you and they understand it, but they want you to love your life. And they want you to look at your life as a blessing, and they want you to look at all of the traits that you are as a blessing. And so they want you to be a little bit lighter hearted around the way that you judge yourself, because you are their magnificent blessing. And they want you to know that more than anything else. Almost made me cry right there. So let's leave it there. Lots of sending you the best vibes, and I will see you guys again soon. Okay, pile number 3, those of you that picked, I think it's a paper clip. Let's take a look and see what this story that you are stuck in, and I'm hearing happen, mask. The mask and the heart. Okay, let's take a look at this. There's, yeah, the seed too. That's significant. There was some ancient seed that was planted a very, very, very long time ago. It's probably a bond of some kind, an arrangement. You see those two people? Around them is what this is striking me as, like a thicket. So there's something about the arrangement or the bond or even the contract around these people where they were both going to be stuck like with a thicket of stuff around them, and they were going to be stuck in this like entanglement together. Like, we'll do it together, we'll manage together. But there's something unique about this, because the mask shows me that there's something obscured, something's not quite seen. I'm trying to see if I can, like, one of these days I'm going to do better with the camera, but you see that I'm pushing this right into the camera so that you can see if you're near. There's a quantum entanglement here, and they're both moving in tandem. They're both learning in tandem, and they're both freeing themselves in tandem. So this is some kind of a soul relationship that you have with another, where you agreed a really long time ago, I don't graduate until you do. I'm not leaving you behind. What I experience, you experience. And like and I don't know that it was a good thing, but there's something about this with the pearl and the seed as being significant, and with the mask and something obscured, like there's a story. So let's take a look and see what that is. My throat chakra is acting up a lot, and that means something. I just don't know what yet. There's something here with the mask. Like something keeps on trying to influence you so that you don't make this connection. So that's a tricky thing. So it's a story where there's an entanglement, there's some kind of an arrangement, there's a thicket around you. But there's something here that is trying to block your ability to see this clearly. Okay, let's go. Let's get some cards. Let's see what's going on here. The horse is like meaningful. Like the symbol of a horse is meaningful to you, to them maybe. And there is a false energy that poses as this connection. Okay, so there is something about the nature of what you are and the nature of the way that you are meant to connect, and what you are connected with in tandem, that feels what you feel, that experiences what you experience. Because it's like this, I'm seeing Einstein and the spooky particles. So I have no idea of physics. Somebody can explain this better. But these two particles, like even when like one is in New York and one is in San Francisco, they spin at the same time. And it's like spooky that they are operating like that beyond like their ability to correspond in terms of space-time. So there's something here. And now with the mask though, and death, oh, okay. This person may have died. Okay, I'm getting a story. I'm getting like a wave of a story. So let's see where this goes. It's pretty intense. I'm trying to get my feet down. I'm hearing Dionysus. This is a god. Okay, let me just try and get this right. I'm just gonna let the cards come out. It might take there might be a slight delay while we're letting cards come out, because usually I go straight into the flow of whatever the channel I'm picking up in, but I stick my head in it and it's a story that is like a movie. Now yeah, don't go breaking my heart, don't go breaking my, don't go breaking my, don't go breaking my heart. Don't go breaking my heart. Okay, so there's something, there's just, okay, so this archetypal story that you are in is where you're holding on to something from the past, or you were holding on to something from the past related to some kind of a vow that you made to always be together. And there is a thicket of time now between you. And this is very sticky. And this is very hard to function with. Now, I don't think it stopped you from getting the work done. I think there's a release here. I can already feel the release taking place. There was a gift that you gave this energy in terms of this arrangement. I have to just like stop and start a little bit with this channel because I have to control it and it's hard to control. Okay, so this Knight of Pentacles, this has been a slow ass ordeal. It has been a slow ass ordeal. Again, I have to like work to control this channel. I'm gonna just say a little prayer. Give me 1 second. There's a lot of interference your entire life to keep you from some kind of truth and some kind of knowledge related to this. And it was something to do with a mission. And this is kind of going off topic, but I'm catching such a strong, we're doing this. This is the reading now. Hope you're here for it. No, it does seem related to a story that you're in though. It's like a weird one though. Like let's get cards. It is a weird one. That Death card is striking me as like, you are some kind of angel to this death, and you set this person free. So I want to tell you that you did something, like there's a congratulations. Oh, so this is a story that's almost already over. So the story's almost, it is over. It's over. It's over. Okay, so you guys are saying the story is over. What it took you to get through this is so significant that they're giving you like a special congratulations with your reading. So your reading is less how do you get out of it and more like you did it and you just don't know it yet. And so this thicket of time that was established, it was kind of a binding spell, and I can feel it. It almost like you probably felt this as being in two times. Okay. Oh. You probably experienced, and especially a lot of your young life, like the life when you were little, you probably experienced yourself as living in 2 times simultaneously. Your head was probably always in the time that you're in and another time. If you were not sitting on the buses yourself thinking about your life, you were in this other time dreaming. You keep on going back to that time and dreaming in that time. Your dream life took place in that time. Your dream life friends took place in that time. You probably felt yourself in 2 places at once. You were feeling this person. You really were feeling this person. You were feeling their life. You were feeling their experience. You were feeling them like sweep the farm floor or whatever the heck that means. Okay, cool. And the yellowing here, and the sun has come up. Something must have happened to break. Something happened. There was a time continuity issue. And with the uncreated here, something that started that wasn't able to finish. You finished it? Okay, hold on. The Blue Temple. Your reading is taking a wild turn, and I'm just going to let it do so. So, the Blue Temple is a very special energy. It's like a smooth, calm, bottom of the well of the soul. So like where your soul is at the bottom of the well of itself. So if your soul were held as a vessel, like in a vessel, I guess it would be your body. This essence, this blue temple, this holiness, this power, this particular love exists at that base of your soul, in that well, at that deep sort of a place. And it has a certain kind of energy. And for that energy to make its way up into the body, you're pretty damn special, is what I want to say. You, kiddo, whoever you are, damn special. That's awesome, first of all. And a huge, cool thing about your soul is just how deep and powerfully present it is. You have a soul family that is close. And so, but there was something about one of your soul family that, okay, I'm coming back into this in 1 second. All right. So your guides are showing me this promise, this vow with soul family here, that no matter where you were implanted in the world, you would always be in contact with the feeling space. It was telepathy at the deepest soul level. That's why, like, you could just feel like yourself now, and then it was like, I don't know, whatever it was another time. With the blues, you're feeling each other at this deep soul level, and you are in contact with your soul family in this way. And so there is something about, and I want to say it was like a vow or a promise made by all of you in terms of keeping in a certain kind of context and contact. And now we're in this tumultuous time where like the movement between worlds is somehow happening. And so your soul in this lifetime was on this mission of like, I'm not leaving my boy or my girl behind, or I'm not leaving my person. That's one of my people. I'm going back in. Creator, you were like, I will create my way through and out. I'm getting them, and I'm returning them, and I'm getting them home. That was you. And so you came in with a weird mission. And so part of the story that you're on is that like life just feels like remarkably out of sync with you having an experience of yourself. Life is not feeling like you're having an experience of yourself and growing as a soul. Life is feeling like you are here and serving everyone around you, and you don't barely even exist. Life is like not for you, it feels like, in a way. That's not the case right this minute. You did the mission, the uncreated. Like you created your way through this thicket of time. There was a thicket of time between you and this other person, and you somehow found a way to like bring them into, like, something happened. You did something magical. Let's learn about it. Okay, so with this Death card and the Fool card and the Ace of Swords, the Truth, and the Eight of Pentacles and the Work and the Page of Cups, this is, oh, what a story. What a story we have here. So with that mask being about like all that you do not see, about the role that you played and getting the soul found together and out of the fucking gate right in the nick of time. Like you did it in the literal last moment, Lionsgate portal that was just passed. You got this soul into an incarnation and off of the dying rock. And I don't know what that means, but like you did something so powerful and so spiritual. You gave such an immense gift, and it took like so many years to do this. So now you're ready to have an experience of yourself. And that's what the sun is coming up right here. You carried the grief of another with you in your body, and it didn't make a lot of sense. You really didn't understand the level of grief that you were walking with. It wasn't like depression. It was like a grieving siren. Like if you can hear a siren, I hear a siren. So Spirit is showing me a scene, and you're sleeping, and it's like a city, and far in the distance there's like a siren going off, and you just are aware of it, and you sleep through it. It's there. It doesn't really annoy you know. It becomes part of the scenery. It's that kind of a sound. Or Spirit is also saying another good example, I don't know why I'm getting so many, is like a train that is like a block away or 2 blocks away. You get used to it. It goes by, you hear it, but it's not there. This kind of sound. This was this grief in your body and in your heart and in your soul at such a profound level. And you were hearing it, eating it, talking. Everything you did was with this siren in the back. And that was your commitment to this person to pull them the fuck out if this ever happened. Because there's something about this person who had stopped creating. And they had stopped creating in another time. They'd stopped. And so you You did some really, really crafty magic, and it probably cost you a lot, but you did it. You got it done. So the transformation is happening. This person is being born into a new belly. You severed them from the death grip of whatever like lie held them so powerfully. This took a lot of work, and now this is a new baby that's coming into the world. And it was a gift that you gave spiritually. You did the spiritual legwork on this one. You and some others, you weren't alone in this, but it does, mission accomplished, mission accomplished. You may be like really confused about what I'm talking about, but there's probably somebody in orbit pregnant. Maybe they don't even know yet. Not to scare you. And like, this is a collective reading. So I need you to like always like understand where your guidance and your intuition is driving the car of the way that you receive this information and turn it into meaning for yourself, because that's the relationship you have with your guides and they know what they're giving you. But so like every time I say the word like pregnancy and it's a collective reading, I'm like, no, don't do it. But there's something here. Maybe you don't know this person. Maybe they're getting born into another part of the world. This was a soul mission, and this was a soul mission that you did with soul family. And yeah, so with the death card and the Ace of Wands in reverse, this person had vengeance, a vendetta. Yeah, so you carried a lot of grief and you carried a lot of anger that was not yours, and you held it too. You kept it weirdly like tucked in your body. And so the anger would have been like you being angry like in ways that like were probably hard for you to control. And that might look like never getting angry. That might look like never getting angry and just getting a million and having that misfire everywhere. So there's something here about the release that you're experiencing now, the way that you're going to be able to see yourself and feel yourself. And so here with the Mask card, and we see like this person is half obscured, that grief that you were carrying, that anger that you were carrying, that you thought and had kind of thought it was yourself, was actually the echo at such a deep soul level of you holding the hand of and not letting go and being like, you're going to the promised land. I don't know what it is or where it is, but the fuck, I'm not leaving you here. I have to not cry. I have to stop cursing. I have to like try so hard not to. I'm in a channeled state, you know what I mean? Like, can't control the language. So like every time that happens, I'm pulled out of the channel and I have to be like, oh, YouTube. Maybe I'll just make myself R-rated and we live with it. But anyway, coming back into like what we're doing here, you're going to experience yourself in a completely different way because you have done this mission. Now there's something about what is being pulled through the thicket of this time. You held this, there's a time thicket. Gosh, this is hard to explain. Yeah, that 10 of Swords. Man, did you take it in the way of abuse in one way or another with this energy. So that Page of Cups there. Yeah, so this is already done. It took a while. Jeez, the Emperor and the Queen of Wands. So you're the warrior queen that like pushed this through. Now, the transformation that it took place. So it's almost like you were the angel of death. I think you really were the angel of death for someone. What does that even mean? It's like you must have guided someone in one way or another. So the way that you would have guided them would have been consciously or unconsciously. Like you were this person's guide through the valley of death in reality. Like maybe you were dreaming it, or maybe just being in two places at once, the way we discussed earlier. Like your presence, your steady, calm, the way that you managed this person's rage. Now I'm seeing that there were things in your life that were purposely placed there to parallel this person's condition. So you may have found yourself in a state of captivity because this person was held captive in like they were in the afterlife in a captive way, whatever that means. You may have found yourself obsessed with a cause because they were obsessed with a cause in their afterlife. You may have found yourself like never feeling like you were never feeling like you were truly connected because they were a ghost and they couldn't find a way to truly connect. So you were feeling, you purposefully were sharing this experience of a felt space, and it's over now. You're going to have a release. You're having a release. What's being pulled out of you right now seems to be the structures in place for this person and their energy somehow. So this was some kind of like a weakness related to like a mission that you were coming in with. And I don't think it was a weakness. It was, your guides are saying you're a genius. You're a creative genius. Like the upper echelons of like spiritual warrior to get this done. So what we're talking about for you in terms of your reading is more about like what you would have experienced as yourself most of the time, all the time, and the shift of where you're going with this rise, this healing, this lightness of being. You're still having the shadows of what it was to share that space for so long play out in your body. This is going to be a weird thing. Like, I don't know how to explain it. There are things being pulled out of you quite literally that are changing the density of your inner space. That's like a felt thing. I don't know how I would get closer to describing that. If you know what that means, I am actually curious. But with this 10 of Swords and this Fool card, like this person's, I think it was a murder. This person's murder was so bad in that past life that there was no way for them to move into the next place. They were plagued by shadows. You came in here with the 4 of Swords and brought like so much healing through your parallel experience. Okay, so just as we said, you guys are connected. There's this entanglement at this deep, this is like the deepest soul level. Like, yeah, this is the great work, no joke. That's the deepest soul level. And then you're paralleling. So you're having to work your way out of being stuck in a story about something bad that happened and have to find yourself outside of that story. You did this with this person's energy in tow, almost like like training wheels or giving them like a crutches. So you lived through their karma, but it wasn't your own, and you held their pain and it wasn't your own, and now you're free of it. So what's being pulled out of you is like, I don't think you know what you're in for, my friend. Whoever I'm reading for, like, I don't think you know. Look at the crooked thing. Listen, my attention to detail could always be better because I see like 2 worlds at once. And so if I like happen to just like never know that things are in the frame, just chalk it up to like double vision. I actually need a 3rd pair of eyes. It seems to sort of like just help me with that stuff. But yeah, so this rabbit that you're seeing, I'm seeing this energy as a masculine energy, actually, was like a dead rabbit. And you brought this healing, and it was a ton of work. And so now this person is coming, they're going to be born somewhere. They're no longer your problem. You are free of it, passing the baton. You did a good job, basically. The Emperor here is about you and your strength and what this experience made you. And you don't know that. You think of yourself as not being that strong because like this is why. That's why. You think of yourself as not being that strong because you had like enormous weights upon you, and it slowed you down, but you weren't slow. You were just gaining enormous muscle. Those weights are coming off. We have Emperor situation going on right here. This is an Emperor. This is going from like feeling always like you're 10 years old and you can't overcome that to like waking up and you're an adult and you've been an adult all this time, and who knew it? Like, where did that go? Like, that's kind of transformation. Look at that Ace of Wands. That's a passionate new path. This is exact. So the Emperor, okay, let's look at this. With the 4 of Swords, you have to heal. Like, just if you don't feel like the Emperor with an Ace of Wands, that's because you have to heal. So you are going to spend some time healing, because this deep soul level entanglement that you chose night after night when you went back to spirit world land with your guides to say, no, I'm going to continue suffering. I'm here for it. You did that night after night. You may have not known that you were doing that night after night, but night after night, every single night when you went to sleep, you went to whatever the council is. I don't know who they are, but your soul does. And your counsel was like, you're drowning out there. You both might go down with this ship. There were times when that was looking like it, and they were like, we're gonna have to cut you. We're gonna have to cut this. And there was a lot going on, like in the spirit realm. You were an action adventure character in the other world, but this is your whole soul family. Like, this is a council, and you were basically every single night you were like, give me one more day, just give me one more day. And there's something in your life that paralleled that, year after year, day after day. But you kept strong. So, you know, this is like, your guides are basically saying, you don't even know who you are, Rocky. Like, you don't even know who you are. And it's true. You don't know who you are. And that's why you need to heal, because you actually have to come into contact with who you are. And there are things and experiences, and you're going to be doing it slowly. Knight of Pentacles, we're not going fast. We're taking our time. So let's look at this, because listen, if I can tell you anything about the phase of life that you are going in, you are like Harrison Bird off. Somebody look that up. I'm not even gonna tell you what that means. So with this, the Emperor and the Ace of Wands here, the Emperor and the Ace of Wands is probably the best, one of the best energies that you can ever have. Like, the images that are coming to mind are X-rated in the best way almost, because like when you think about, like, if you know what, I have a lot of people who follow my work who are people who are readers, because because we're all on the same page out here in one way or another. Like, we're reading, you know, we're channeling these divine messages, and these cards really do, like, but so we all know what the Emperor and the Ace of Wands energy together ends up being, and that's power and passion and drive that is not being driven off a cliff by fears and everything else, but like, you are in command of your passionate new path and your passionate new beginning to an extent that it is almost effortless. You are in creator mode and high on creation mode. And so when we talk about like this next phase of your life, like, you don't realize that you just did it. You just finished. There is a shard of glass in the space in your heart, and it's not a real shard of glass. I'm just seeing this space. What has not been created for you in the way of your life, because you were holding this parallel to keep this, you did it. Now that you've done it, like, there's this pain in your heart that is not the grief that you were holding, but it's something that has to be pulled out, because the experience did actually scar your soul a little bit. And I think what your guides are saying in terms of like what's left for you at the heart here and the heart healing is this entanglement was at a really deep level, and you held the fort. There's cheering in the rafters, like, that's how good it is. But you have a wound now. So what do your guides want to say about that? Because you, with that Four of Swords on the bottom of the deck, do need to rest and heal before you can Ace of Wands, Emperor, anything. That's really what we're really there. It's important. You're Queen of Wands. Look at your glorious. Oh, it's time for lovers, right? But you're a wounded warrior. Okay. Queen of Wands and the Lovers card is almost as good as the Emperor and the Ace of Wands, but like even better if these are but this whole wounded warrior thing just tells me that you're like tired, right? So like your whole ancestral line and your soul lineage, along with soul lineage that is even farther back than that, which card, you're like really this phenomenon out here in the spirit realm right now, is wait, hold on. Yeah, they're ready to give you like everything, and you're like in this Nine of Swords kind of like you're exhausted from defending yourself from this whole ordeal for all of this time. So there's some really major victories that came in. I think there were like 3 or 4 victories that came in with you spiritually, but it was, you have like almost like a spiritual burnout. I don't think it's a spiritual burnout. It's like you're tired. So like if I was to like knock on your door and be like, you want a world trip around the world, you know, and you would be like, can I need some time to just sleep? I can't, it's overwhelming. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a weird thing that I'm feeling. Epiphany, reveal your gifts. Okay, let's go into it. So you're tired from fear, or your fear PTSD or something from this, actually. I'm not diagnosing anything, so don't take it that way, but it's a fear problem that I'm feeling as a result of all this. So, especially around your voice. This did like a doozy. So you have some kind of a little bit of a some kind of a, yeah, I feel it. It's a soul wound. I don't know, that's an odd thing. Let me see what that means. Because you can see here with this card, you see she's wounded. And I need to find out more. Because you held this person in your soul. So whatever happened, they were like out there, and you kind of, for some reason, like tucked them into your soul. You see them there? There's a little mouse this is you walking around in your life, and you've got like this energy, like screaming and like clawing, right? And you're managing all of this stuff, and you're emoting the right response, and you're helping this thing and this energy grow. And you're doing this with your giftedness, right? But look at the hole this thing leaves in her arm when it gets transplanted into its next life. Brutal. So for you, this is not over. This is just like your throat. You've got I'm seeing the Four of Swords like twice just like jump out at me. So like you have healing to do. And like your guys are like, and don't Queen of Wands your way around town when you need to be chilling and healing. And so your natural effervescence is like this Queen of Wands energy. You're feeling exhausted at a soul level and hurt and tired. And there's some self-condemnation about what you might feel like is bad habits, but you really are recovering. It's not a habit thing. I mean, everyone can do a little bit better, but that's not what I mean. There's solutions to all the problems that you feel like might take you out right now. You are being held in a chill out and relaxed kind of a place. Your guys are like, you incurred a very vicious level of soul damage, and I've never seen guides say that, and I've not really know what to do with that information. Something here happened. Fuck. Ooh. Forgive me for cursing. I don't even know. There's a lot of energy coming out at me right now, so we're gonna have to give me grace. I saw something kind of crazy. There's a thing here. Let's talk about it. Oh, it hurts actually. Okay. So this was kind of like, there was a unholy love kind of a thing with this energy. So if we can go back to this notion of always feeling like you were in two places at once, you were where you were, and then for some reason you were always in another historical place, like akin to falling in love with a historical character. Did you, in your musings of another world, because you felt like you were in two worlds at once, also find a like spiritual love with what might have fallen into the category of like a historical character? Because this is the confusion that happened here with the yellowing. This was the job that you had to do. Here's none of the information. You had none of the information. For some reason, there was some trap that like you stepped in with this, with whatever this mission was, that kind of angled you to like some kind of a spiritual trickery here. Or like it might even be that like in holding this energy, you sought this energy out. There might have been some kind of entanglement, because we have this as you, right? And you did this deed and you were holding this energy right here in the arm space. See how these two different cards are showing an arm space that's identical? One is holding an energy and the other is it's ripped out. Here, let's see if you can see that. that's what we're talking about. So you held this energy and it was really hard and you had to go through all these parallel lessons and you were trying to set them free. This was confusing for you at a psychic level, and it ended up causing some kind of a problem where it trapped you, kind of held you like shadow dancing with something that like let love grow, where love grew, where love maybe like should not have grown. Take a look at this. There was a love affair up in this story at play. Like somewhere in the like entanglement of being in two places at once, maybe even recognizing that person as a historical figure in time, and then having that like that thicket of time that was between you somehow had to be traversed. And I think that there was a archetypal love story at play in order to make the relay with retrieving this person's soul, so that they could go into a new life and move on with everybody in the right direction with this soul entanglement and this soul knowing. And so right now with Open Your Arms and Oblivion, you see how she has someone in her arms here, and now she doesn't have someone in her arms. So what needs to be processed and felt, and what this woundedness and this hole in the soul is, this whole thing caused some kind of a really weird entanglement between you and just like what it is to have like any kind of love at all. Love the darkness, like that's something like that we would probably consider unnatural a little bit happened here. And now you have to learn how to open your arms again, because it was an ordeal. So this left you in kind of the lurch a little bit. So we're going to continue this reading, even if it gets a little bit long, because it's interesting. And I want to see what we're going to see from this. Let us take a look. Wait, let me conference with the guides. It's painful. You have old structures between you and like what was a unintentional love affair with a member of your soul family that you were actually like you were the ferry driver. You were ferrying in your own body. So how do we heal from this? Because I think that that's kind of the question here is, what does it mean to heal from this? Now, if you're here and this is resonating, that's amazing to me, because this is one of these stories that I would never see as a collective story. But what I have to tell you about collective stories is that the eighth dimension, like the chakra eighth dimension, which like, I don't like to get into like explaining that, but it's pretty like well established as something that people agree is a place where our unconscious mind, like it's a depository or of archetypal structures. Now, whether or not people believe that those are deities is a matter of faith, and I do believe that those are deities, but I believe that those deity fields are very ecosystem interesting. So when we think about what a collective is and why this is so like fascinating that it can resonate on a collective level, is because this is probably a story that a lot of souls are involved in, because we're trying to get the last of our soul family planted in the new creation, whatever the heck that is. I don't even know exactly what I'm talking about, but there seems to be a relay that's common. So if this is resonating completely, maybe even all of them, it's because you're a part of a lot of souls that are here doing the heaviest possible lifting. And there's probably a lot of like playing along it's probably the same structural game plan, essentially. Everyone who is doing this currying, like that, like one soul who needs to like get home already, is in one way or another having to carry their grief and their pain with them and be in two times at once. And so like this is just an incredibly beautiful story about humanity's love for its others, really. So one of the first things that we want to do is kind of forgive the harshness of your experience in light of the bigger love story that it's telling. And also sort of embrace what it means to be stepping into a new story where you are not burdened in this way, because you have had your victory. The victory is already established. What we're seeing now is like the pulling out of the structures that like held the space for those things that are no longer there. And you might feel that in the way of a lightness of being, but also a tightness and like of something at the same time. So let's just get some cards on what your guides kind of want you to do as you move into a new energy with yourself. Because that's what this is. This is an energy paradigm, and it's an energy like place that no longer exists in your body. So the inside of your body might feel energetically different at a profound level, and that might be kind of disorienting. You already gave this gift. Now your progress is slow going because you do have a hole in your soul related to like just how close this process was when it was ongoing. But you let go, and they let go too, and it's done. There's just all these old growth structures in you around relating to them. And so it's kind of like when somebody dies, and with the companion, the companion and the mediator, that makes sense. It kind of, look, she's like holding hands to both these people. You made this bridge between this person and their future mother. Somehow. And wow, like I'm having a moment. That's so beautiful. It's like just beautiful, actually. So what Spirit wants you to do is to take a new view of how you're feeling right now, because I feel like you feel really confused about like what's happening and how you feel and what it means to feel the way you feel. Your whole orientation and landscape might look different under the circumstances. Let's see what Spirit wants you to do with it. Spirit, this is so cool. This is a really beautiful story, actually. All right, magical. A thief, okay. Goddess in reverse, and that really did want to flip. You saw the way that it went. That did not want to be. So healer, I mean, I can't, this saboteur, I mean, like you were traveling, like you were this beautiful air balloon, and you were traveling with somebody who was just like spikes, you know? And so like this healing here, and it's also becoming a healer, you know, you have to work out of the, you've had to, Spirit showing me a really very specific vision, and I want it to land right, and my throat chakra is shutting a little bit, so let me see if I can cough. There it is. What Spirit is showing me is like when you're in the bar with your friends, and you're in the bar and there's really loud music and you're screaming conversation at each other really loud, and then you go outside, everybody goes outside, say for like a cigarette. This is 1995 for whatever reason. And then your people will walk by and you're still screaming. You don't know that you're still screaming, but other people can hear that you've been in the bar and that you still think that you have to talk very loud. So like, I don't know if you can see that, but I see it clear as day. It's like you were in the bar screaming, you come out, you're talking really, really loud, and people who walk past are like that, they're screaming, but they don't know that they are. There is a way that you have been conditioned towards life where you've been in so much pain and you've had to endure such a confusing burden, even spiritually, like an experience spiritually that has no one else has had this experience, you know what I mean? So it's alienating. This does have you in a perspective where healing is a serious business for you right now. Like this is going to be like, don't take this lightly, because you're in a position where you are poised for excellence. You are poised for great reward and great spiritual renown. But the experience, if you frame it as like, not this Queen of Wands, you're this Queen of Wands, but if you're trying to like frame it in a way that's going to make sense of it, what does it mean? You know, like what you're meant to do is to let yourself see the potential for sacred beauty in it. To think that everything is more like beautiful and has more sacred beauty, not less. To not look at the world in a bitter way that said like, my experience is over at this point because you know, like, because I'm here. Like spirit guides are like, don't do it. You just did this victory. The divine genius is with you, willing to guide you. Anything is possible. but the conditioning of the past experience and the wound, it left a soul wound, right? That's true. You know, because you got to the point where you did not, nothing that you did could lift the pessimism. Nothing you did could lift the depression. Nothing you did could make the miracles that you were experiencing like mean anything to you, because these feelings were so intense. So that made it really hard for you to think anything is possible, and to see the potential and sacred beauty in everything. But now that's what you're called to do, because there was a thief of your life, but you were doing it on purpose. And I hate that. It sounds so trite, doesn't it? But what's the alternative? If this resonates on such a soul level that you've been like, you know, like all the way in, then you know that you've had losses that had dramatic effect on your life, because you were paralleling some energy where you didn't feel karmically, like you were fielding unfairness that did not karmically make sense. You were dealing with a life that did not resonate with like the person and the soul that you were, and that did steal from you. You did lack the opportunities and the options and the chances to truly fall in love, per se, as an example, because all of this heaviness and this is not, you know, making light of any kind of mental health issues. Like spirituality is like I always have to bring a disclaimer that says you need to be taking care of all arenas of health, but sometimes like these things make sense with each other. You know, sometimes like these two notions complement each other, and the lift and the release that you feel right now is only at odds with habits of thinking that were conditioned because of the other way of having to deal. And so with this goddess in reverse here, you know, the real difficulty is coming up around love, and the real difficulty is coming up around like sensuality. Something about this needs healing in terms of how you can even show up with your heart and body and your feminine expression of wisdom and life force and sensuality, because you've been exploited at a almost like deepest level. There's been an energy that like was at odds with what that feminine energy represented in them. You've been merged in this weird way from this entanglement with an energy that could not cross over without this major intervention, because of how angry it was at its mother in one way or another. And you did all of that mothering from inside of your body and your wrist like this, by going through the situations that that person was going through, so that they could have that symbiotic lesson come through, even though they were done living their life. This was a wild operation. And with, so you need to heal from that. That was a little bit much. That was an exploitation of the female form. It just was in like a spiritual way, like in a spiritual way. This dilettante, you're meant to delight in the arts without having it to be too particularly professional right now. You're not gonna do anything superficially. You are going to take your time. You are going to heal. You are going to have fun. You are going to be lighthearted. You're going to practice this because you earned it, because it's going to be easy to move into, easier than it's ever been before. And what has to break are some patterns of thinking. You might even find yourself thinking lately, it'd be like, I don't know why I'm thinking this. I don't feel this way. That doesn't make any sense. And it's just a weird pattern, you know? And so where spirit wants to leave you is that like this time of healing your body is really big. You're healing your body right now. You're healing your body from unbelievable strain that you endured trying to get this energy through. And you did it. Success, like accolades, like you got, like your guys are lining up to like, you know, shake your hand after this. But you need to heal in a very serious way, and you need to take this healing time very, very seriously and give yourself play and reconnect yourself with your body. Really get in there with your body and really work with like your heart space, because something was like very much ripped out of your heart. Your heart was like feeding this, you know, for you. And your heart took the brunt of the pain here. And so your heart is stronger than ever, your guides say, but it really is like, there are things being dislodged from it. There are things that are like rooted in it that have to be cut out, like on a spiritual level. And that sounds terrible, but it's gonna feel good. It's gonna feel like every morning you wake up and you just feel a little bit more released, a little bit lighter, a little bit more yourself. And so, you know, we're connected. This is, you know, this says the frequency of Gaia reminds us that we are infinitely connected to one another, just as we are to our great mother and to the universe that birthed us all. So you were really in that mothering place. And you are also in a mothering energy. You were holding mothering energy to manage this entire feat. The entire time that you were dealing with this at the most insane was you were holding in your body the fierce and fabulous, amazing like energy of like, I'm mothering the fuck out of myself, and I can't help but curse, and I'm mothering everyone that like you were a force of mothering. I'm hearing it like mother. And this universal love here is like just how supported like you're not doing that anymore. You are graduated a little bit from that role. So I want to, your guides are wanting to say that like they're congratulating you and they want you to know that you're entering, it doesn't matter what age you are, this aged your soul. So from a soul point of view, you were in the mothering for a while. Your soul went from maiden or, you know, I am seeing maiden, mother, crone, and it depends on, you might be feminine soul aspected and it doesn't matter what your body is doing. So you know, when I say that you're feminine soul aspected, like I mean it, like you are, and that you might have a female body too. I'm just like letting people know that like some of this language is very gendered, but like this is the feminine soul aspect. Let me look at that close. Yeah. Spirit is saying that like this is part of what's being pulled out of your heart. Like there's something here about that's, you held two spaces at once, two people at once. This did something to how you like express in the world. You're gonna have like an inner biology change, but like you were very supported in this with Gaia. Like this is, you were connected, you were doing the work of the mother, and you're moving into this crone phase. And by crone phase, I do not mean like an old like hobbit in the hermitage. Like I mean like fierce, gorgeous, beautiful, like outspoken, apologizes to nobody. You know, there is something really like beautiful about like you were so mothering for so long, and now you get to be kind of fierce, because that Queen of Wands energy is just, but like in a gorgeous, sexy way, I'm being told, not in like we're at the end of the road kind of a journey kind of a way. Because this remembrance and this discernment here at the bottom of the deck, with this magic, you know, you have been using your magic for love, in this beautiful love, and you're gonna remember who you are. You're about to like really step into like a remembrance of who you are as this stuff lifts out of you. The discernment here is about compassion and wisdom for yourself, and a willingness. Your angelic energies actually are saying like your willingness to let go of like story structures that made you somehow like ashamed of what it meant to be holding so much pain, ashamed of yourself for being in pain, ashamed of yourself for being like somehow not in one place. You know what I mean? Like the shame has to go, because you are really ready for an empowerment that you've never experienced before, and it's really time to step into it. So with the magic here being about like finally being able to use your magic for yourself, and the remembrance about you feeling like yourself for the first time ever, this is less about what archetypal story are you stuck in that you need to transcend. You transcended it, pile number 3. And I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you. This is good work that you have done, and I think you're gonna have a very different experience of life. And I think this probably started not long ago. I'm actually pinning this to a time, even though these are all timeless readings. I'm kind of pinning this to a portal, like maybe a Lionsgate. I think it's Lionsgate portal actually. But I'm pinning this to a portal, like this just happened. So congratulations. You did it. You're going to be so proud of yourself when you go to do when you finally do your, whatever like the soul review is that people do at the end of life. You're going to be like at the edge of your seat. You're going to be so excited about the work that you've done here. And so let yourself be proud of yourself, and let yourself transcend those old patterns of thinking that no longer apply to your new like homeostasis. So pile number 3, let's leave it there. It was so good to be in this energy with you, and I look forward to seeing you again.